Testing the mic, mic check. 1, 2. I think the audio sounds pretty clean. Testing the mic. Okay. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ratcherada. Welcome back to the Next Level Fear Show. We're going to be finishing up part of the face, going over the cheek, as you can see. And part of this area right here, smoothing this out, making this look as flawless as possible, probably jumping over to the left eye, making that look a lot better. And then ultimately, we're going to be attacking the hair. Once the hair is all done, then we can go back, look at the image, and then we can maybe add some pores on the nose, some texture on the cheek, go back to the lips. You know, it's a process, man. It's a huge process. So in the background, I got my boy Anton Daniels. Don't know him personally, but I definitely fuck with him 100%. And we're going to be watching his stream or listening to his stream. I guess while you guys watch me draw, you can do a combination of both. And let's get to it. Pardon me for the commercials. I have no control of that, but I'll just be muting the sound out, possibly interjecting and giving my commentary as well. And because he talks about a lot of politics and that sort of thing, current events and all that. So, yeah, let's get to it.
For this week to be awesome, and I'm also expecting for things to absolutely be awesome throughout the end of the year. So what I want to do is I want to finish the year strong. We want to start the year light, finish strong, and so we go into 2025 absolutely killing it. What's up to all of my friends and family inside of the chat?
What's going on,
Camille
kid?
Edwards says, Camille always got these good questions. She makes sure that she definitely get in what it is that she got to say and make it good. So Camille says, good day, Mr. Daniels. Which part of content creation do you find most time consuming? Producing? Yeah. Producing, finding out what it is that you want to talk about, getting the presentation together, making sure that everything is working out, making sure all of the images, the lower thirds, the words fly in, that the cameras is right, that the microphones is working the correct way, all of that stuff. The editing, easy. Uploading thumbnails, easy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yesterday, I tried to do a live on TikTok as well, and my audio was echoing, and it was a simple mistake that I had to fix. But like in the beginning, I'm like, damn, nothing can go right, you know. Just trying to get TikTok on board and seeing if I can get people interested in watching this process. And, because some people might find it interesting. Some people can sit back, especially if I have the jazz music in the background, they'll be able to sit back and listen to it and just, watch me do my thing. It's very relaxing. It's very relaxing to see this sort of thing. That's why I started doing it, aside from my workout videos and then also me commentating on current events. This right here is just, I don't know, for me, man, this is the best. This really, really lowers my stress levels and puts me at ease, man. So I figured, why not share it? If it makes me feel good, it's got to make you guys feel good.
What I want to talk about, I know what I want to talk about. I got 1,000 different things in my head. It's really just picking one and just figuring out what it is that you want to go with based off of what's most relevant at that time. That's easy. But getting the vision of how you want things to be presented in your head, for me, it's the most time consuming part. I would tell you that for most content creators, and this is a phenomenal question, shout out to you. For most content creators, it's going to be the editing. The editing is going to be the thing that takes the most time. The recording and then the editing. It's going to be the most time consuming. Especially when you first getting started, especially when you start to really get into it. And
Yeah, you see, I don't even edit. Like after my live streams, I just let it go. My live stream was cut short without me knowing yesterday, and for about maybe 20 minutes, I was just doing my thing, not even realizing I wasn't live. You know, and I think it was because of the video that I had on. YouTube saw it as a copyright something and canceled the live or whatever. But I don't know if that affects the channel because on the on the description it says you it's copyright, but the owner allows it to be used on YouTube. So this is not a strike against you. So I'm guessing I can use it if it's not a strike against me, you know. And at this point right now, like I'm really not concerned because my channel is not big. It's nothing at this point, right? But maybe in the future, I don't know. Maybe I've noticed a lot of content creators do not play music because of that reason. So I don't see why not. I mean, it's especially if I have the guy's channel up on the screen here, you can see it. It's like I'm giving him advertisement. Why would they not want it, I don't see how that makes any sense. But for me, I don't think the editing for me is a big deal, especially when I was doing my workout videos. But I guess it's a little bit different when you're talking about politics and you have a platform like him where he's kind of like a news channel, so to speak, because he'll go over the daily current events in the morning. And so maybe for him, he's got to make it interesting. He just can't commentate. He's got to do what like major news organization does and have reels and images and you know you'll see it as it goes along how he does it. But I don't know, to each his own.
and you trying to figure out a level of consistency, the editing is going to take the longest time for you. For me, I've set up templates and ways that I want things to be done, intros, outros. Sometimes I want it to be swiped in and swiped out. So I got a set of ways that I refine, and I might update a template or I might change something, but I set a standard for how I want my stuff to be presented, and that's the way that I then go into the editing process. And it's also, and I didn't do it for me, I did it because it's easier for me to offload that on to somebody else that may work for me. Or let's say, for example, I have an editor and then he wound up getting a way, way better job or he leapfrogging into something else, or for whatever reason he decided to leave. I can then transition that into somebody else. And so I set a standard, or I set the standard and then I allow for them to upgrade the standards. And then it's easy for us to continue to pass that along. And what I've learned in corporate America is standardization along with making sure that you have a repository. A lot of people don't understand repositories. A repository is basically a set of assets that you have, the logos, the pictures, all of that stuff. It basically standardizes what your brand is and stuff like that. So that's a phenomenal question. I really like that question. Shout out to you. King Jaquin says, "Hello, Anton. Do you offer promos on your platform? And if so, how does one contact you?" Absolutely. So you can email me at antondaniels413 at gmail.com, or you can go to antondaniels.com and just hit the contact me button, and it's easy for you to be able to get in contact with me. All right. Shout out to my people. That's a phenomenal question. Also, thank you, my friend. Shout out to my people in Pontiac. I love you too. I love my people in Pontiac. Yeah, I ride through Pontiac all the time. You might see a Cybertruck pull up every once in a while. So, what's up to all of my friends and family in the chat? I know we rocking out a little bit early, but we don't miss, so we got to make sure that we hit everything. ESDC with the Cash App, I appreciate you, and Mike, that dude. I also appreciate you for holding me down on Cash App. Shout out to all of my people on Cash App. Shout out to the new bag chasers. So this week, let me do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're gonna get straight into the show because we got a lot to cover today. This week, this week, we are doing Block Club, okay? Next week, we then go into Stock Club. The week after that, we go into budgeting. The week after that, and then we go into the content creation conversation and we strategize for 2025. All right. So let me rephrase this for you, for all of my bag chasers, for all of the Patreon members. This week we got Block Club. I have everything set up, literally. Let me see if I got it inside of my backpack because I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to do it in the presentation layer that's easier for y'all to be able to understand it. I have that in my backpack. I don't know if I got that in my backpack. So basically, we're going to do a whole presentation of exactly what the cost breakdown is, my learned lessons, and all of that from building the property, and I'm gonna do a compare and contrast of what it takes to build the property.
Okay, I just wanted to
versus
listen to the current events. I don't. Woman pulls a weapon. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got here.
What up, baby girl? All right, y'all. I'm gonna be reading super chats throughout the show. Let's get to it. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna cook up today, and we're gonna make it happen. All right. First things first is quick hits. So quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's happening throughout the streets. All right. So first things first, a man is saying that a woman pulled the gun on her or a gun on him after he fired her. Check it out.
Owner of a popular catering business in Atlanta says a disgruntled employee held him and his staff at gunpoint. Now the woman is behind bars facing charges. Fox 5's Joy Dukes is live with more on that story. Joy.
Yeah, Chris, I can tell you tense moments unfolded here at Tim Morgan's catering business on Chattahoochee Avenue. The self-made chef telling us that many of his staff members are still shaken after a former co-worker of theirs showed up here, walked inside the building you see behind me, and pointed a gun at them. Now, Morgan tells us that that former employee was apparently terminated just a day before for not showing up for an event that she was scheduled to work. Now, he says he notified her that her contract had been terminated, that she needed to turn in her uniform and her keys earlier that day, but she didn't know, she didn't show up until later in the evening. He says that that's when things took a turn for the left, and despite being asked to leave, she pulled out a pistol.
I heard being terminated. She had the keys to the building. She came into the building and she was dressed for the part. She had a hoodie, she had on sweatpants and tennis shoes, and she had a pistol in her waist. Her intention was to kill.
And Morgan says that employee he identified as Harita Benton took his phone and took off. She was arrested later that night and booked into the Fulton County Jail. Now, Benton is charged with simple assault and theft by taking. We'll have more on this developing story coming up for you tonight at 10.
What happened to the gun charge?
Number one, this is one of the reasons why I'm very, very
Simple assault and theft taking. I mean, what happened? What happened to the firearm? Criminal possession of a weapon. What happened to menacing? You know what I mean? Like if she presented it, right?
apprehensive about opening up certain businesses. When I opened up my first restaurant, I was you want to do good for the community, but I learned very early on you got to do good for yourself, and then you got to let the chips lay where they may. I was very, very, very much bothered by the idea that when I first opened up my first restaurant, that we wanted to open it up and don't put any plexiglass and all of that other stuff on there. Now, I was very, very fortunate, and now I'm just a silent investor in other people's stuff. But I was very, very fortunate in that we never got robbed. You know what I'm saying? By gunpoint, we would get robbed by people taking the chicken out the bag and people stealing money. But we never got robbed. We never got any of that type of stuff. And so I was very, very fortunate. But you don't know who these people are. You genuinely don't know who these people are in real life. People be having issues, stuff that they got going on behind the scenes, all of that. So is my mic low? My volume is low?
No,
Y'all telling me
your
that my
mic is
volume
good.
low? I gotta
Go
turn my
ahead,
volume
man.
up? right, let's see what we can do. I'll see if I can fix that. I'll see if I can turn the volume up. But you don't know who these people are in real life. And so you got to be very, very careful with who you deal with, all right? In addition to that, over in New York City, tenants are complaining about a New York City apartment that they fed up with problems with. Check it out.
That is not a toy or CGI special effects, but a real live big rat crawling across the living room of a 6th-floor apartment at 655 Berg Avenue in the Bronx.
Rats in the hallway.
That shit look like a damn dog.
And that's just the beginning of a long list of problems, according to the fed-up tenants here, who held a news conference Wednesday. They're pleading for someone to put pressure on the building owner and/or property manager, identified by them.
Hey, the Bronx.
Right.
There's no guy.
The Bronx
starters,
always be like just terrible.
Is that better? Is that
water
too loud?
and cooking gas
too
in this
loud.
privately owned building.
We have a girl upstairs, only 6 years old, coughing because the apartments are so cold.
This is the hot plate that he gave us to cook with. It doesn't work, but we went without gas.
Real quick, that's why, hey, the Bronx has always been a shit show, man. Even when I was a cop back in the 90s, it's always been just a terrible, grimy place. And during Christmas and during these times of years where they're plugging in heaters, you get building fires, and it's just a mess. But the size of that rat, did you see that rat? That rat is crazy. That thing was like a dog, and it was walking real slow. I don't know if that's AI or what, man. That's crazy.
Since June 10th.
But tenants, many of whom are seniors and/or disabled.
Yeah, that was a huge rat. Is my mic too loud? Does it sound better? Is that better for y'all or no? Y'all let me know if my mic is better, if it's too loud, what's going on? Let's go with that. Is it too low?
No, you good. I understand the struggle.
There's no excuse for being consistently forced to rely on kitchen hot plates or the stairs in this 6th-floor walk-up. There appears to be a good reason.
All that money we're sending it to these foreign countries. You can't fix one borough.
In our text message exchange with Cohn, he insisted
for years.
He is working and that it was
I'm talking, I'm 52. You can't fix one borough. You can't pour some money into one small borough in New York City.
Directly contradict Cohn's claim.
But you can send billions to Ukraine and all these other crazy countries.
Complaints and violations on file for this one building just
Makes
within
no
the
sense.
last few years alone. What do you want?
I can't wait to deep dive a little bit more in Block Club. People have a real misconception of what it takes to be successful in real estate. They genuinely do. They have a real misconception of what it takes to be successful in real estate.
Let me stop right there without even him saying it. Everybody wants to be a realtor. Everybody wants to sell real estate, and they don't know how difficult it is to be a realtor. They have no idea. You can go a full month, 2 months without selling a home. And that's if you're selling homes. You'll find yourself renting apartments. And if you're not the realtor, right, and you're just a salesperson there, you're working for the realtor who owns the place. You got to get half that money goes to them. It's hard work. Plus, you're driving around, and if you're in the big city, yeah, you can take public transportation and all that stuff, but you're just going to and from, meeting the tenants or meeting the, prospective buyers, and then sometimes they don't show up or they show up late. And when I say it's a hustle, it's a hustle. Not easy. You just can't go in and think, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to sell multi-million-dollar homes. Although that's what they would have you think. That's far from the truth, man.
And I think that slumlords are the worst, and so they shouldn't be in the business. I also think that over in New York, it's the worst. New York and Los Angeles is the worst places to have rental properties.
Right.
In addition to that, it's very, very difficult for people to make money when it comes to real estate in New York.
There you go.
As far as being landlords, I would never be a landlord in New York. And they got a rat problem. They
Absolutely.
got a sanitation problem, and they have a rat problem. One thing I can't understand is how are cities that are much larger,
Cleaner.
more people like Tokyo, able to not have a rat problem and not have a problem at all when it comes to sanitation, but we can't get it right here in the United States of America. I don't understand it. I don't understand that. It is too much regulation in New York, Connie. I agree with that. Last but not least, ladies and
It's
gentlemen,
a lot of red tape.
this is something that I reported over the weekend, but I didn't report on it on the Millionaire Morning Show. But city council person in Boston has been arrested for corruption and kickback charges.
Shocker.
Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson refusing to answer questions about the federal charges against her. Prosecutors say she organized a corruption scheme in order to steal $7,000. FBI agents arrested Anderson today, and she made a court appearance late this afternoon. WBZ's Christina Rex was at federal court when Anderson passed on her chance to give an explanation to voters.
Excuse us. Excuse us.
I'm not going to comment.
No, we're not commenting, guys.
Boston
Of course you're
City
not.
Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson silent as reporters try to get answers about allegations of stealing taxpayer
I don't know about
money.
that.
For your message to your voters.
We have nothing to say to you guys.
But the city councilor was arrested at her Dorchester home early Friday morning by federal agents.
Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public in the officials who serve them.
The U.S. attorney says the illegal behavior happened in City Hall in 2023, where Anderson allegedly hired a relative to work for her and gave that relative a $13,000 bonus. Then inside a City Hall bathroom, they alleged these texts were sent. Bathroom and ready. Then that staffer allegedly gave Anderson back $7,000 cash of
that was
the
a setup.
taxpayer money.
They knew she was stealing. They set her up.
Run-in with ethics violations, and investigators say Anderson was struggling financially in part because of
A sanction that was imposed by the State Ethics Commission of $5,000 for Ms. Fernandez Anderson hiring immediate family members.
Now some are calling for her resignation. In a statement, Mayor Wu said the serious nature of these charges undermine the public trust and will prevent her from effectively serving the city. I urge the councilor to resign. So does Councilor Ed Flynn.
I believe in the best interest.
That's what the mayor of New York City is about to get in trouble for. I mean, he hired his family members as well. I mean, and listen, there's nothing wrong with hiring your family members to do the job as long as they're qualified. Don't hire somebody that isn't qualified and just give him the job just because he's your family member. If your brother's a perp, okay? And for those of you who don't know what that means, if your brother's a criminal, you can't hire him to run security. You can't hire him to run an entire law enforcement division. Doesn't make sense. So all of these people that were hired throughout the last 4 years, their time is coming. Their time is coming. January 20th, when Trump gets back in, it's over. It is over. We're not settling for less. It's about time that we get this country back in shape, man. Enough of this DEI bullshit.
Of the city, it's necessary for Councilor Fernandez Anderson to resign.
And Anderson was released after that first hearing, meaning she is a free woman right now. And because these are just allegations, she is still a practicing Boston City Councilor in good standing and could report to work on.
We don't want to hear that. You know what DEI stands for? I know some of you are like diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's not what it stands for, man. DEI stands for didn't earn it. That's the real meaning of it. Didn't earn it.
First of all, she's not going to resign because the one thing I know about people, a lot of people, white people be resigning. It's a little bit different with everybody else because they not missing out on no bag. They got to pay their lawyers and all of that stuff. Even that dude, Trayon White, over there in, Baltimore or D.C., right? He didn't resign. Ain't nobody resigning. Tiffany Henyard, she not resigning. Nobody is resigning because ain't nobody about to miss out on no paycheck. But when they say that, okay, she only did it for $7,000, no, that's the one time that she got caught.
Correct.
A lot of these people take payments, they do kickbacks, and they do it on the smallest level, and you about to risk your freedom, your reputation, and your lifetime position for the bag. I never understood that. I remember when we would go to work, even
When I was a cop, back in the day, I had a 3-year or 3.5-year term where I was assigned to the Internal Affairs Bureau. And there was a unit that used to go out and handle those smaller scale corruption allegations being made towards police officers that were out there, stealing money and all that stuff. And that's how they would get them. They wouldn't, load a trunk if, they got a complaint that there was a police officer that was out there pulling over cars and, going into drivers' pockets and removing their money from their wallets and stuff like that. No, they wouldn't like set up a sting operation where they would put hundreds of thousands of dollars inside of a suitcase and put it in the back of the trunk, or maybe in the back of the seat of the car. That's not going to happen like that. I'm telling you. They're going to put the smallest amount, a few $100s, maybe a couple of $1,000s, because in the mind of anybody, like you see a couple of $100 lying on the floor, you're not going to think anything of it. It's not a big deal. Oh, it's just a couple of $100. There's no element of surprise for that amount of money to just go in your pocket. So what would you do, right? You would just be like, you know what? I'm just going to take this. It's $300, right? And then boom, that's it. You're caught. And that's how they do it. That's how they do it with these sting operations. It's always like a little bit of money. In her case, it was $7,000 because I'm sure she started off with a few hundred here and there and then eventually worked her way up. And that's how these big time politicians do. They start off small and then all of a sudden, Biden is taking $30 million, right? $100 million to do shit. It's just crazy. Starts off small. This is why, as a rookie police officer back in 1994, 93 when we were in the academy, 94, they would always say to us, never accept a cup of coffee from any merchant when you're out there patrolling the beat. Because when we came on back then, there was a lot of corruption going on. It was the aftermath of, I forget that term, but the entire city, it was a dirty 30 back then. You can Google what the dirty 30 in NYPD was back then. The Mullins Commission, it was just a bunch of terrible things going on. So our group was such a small group. It was only 91 recruits at the time. Meanwhile, they were putting in thousands upon thousands at a time. But in our group, we were college educated. We all graduated with our degrees. And we were the first group to come out with the 9mm. And so they would always they would always try to drill it into our ear. You accept one cup of coffee from somebody, and that's how it starts. You walk into a store, you got the owner, hey, don't worry about it, it's on me. The minute you say, oh, thank you, he got you. Because that one cup of coffee is now gonna come with a favor. Because when he has a problem or something like that, he's gonna be like, oh, Officer Tirado, can you, I got this summons. Do you think you can, take care of this summons for me? Or this parking ticket, or maybe this violation from the health department. I'm sure you guys all work together. And now you're like, damn, this guy gives me coffee every day. And now you feel compelled to want to do something. That's how it starts. A simple cup of coffee. That's how it all starts.
Was in a plant, right? And a lot of these guys, they would be committing what I call time card fraud. So, you know, people would do stuff or they'll steal something petty. And then I'll be thinking to myself, like, why would you risk your freedom?
That's why I fuck with
For
Anton.
something
He
so
understands.
small and minuscule like that. Or you not even your freedom. Forget your freedom. Why would you risk your bag? We was making over $120,000 a year, sometimes $110,000 a year back in the early 2000s. And these guys were really willing to risk their job for small things. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see people steal stuff sometimes, it doesn't make sense to me because in my mind, I think to myself, okay, so what if you get caught, right? What if you go to jail? What if you then get a record? Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, you can't get the job that you want. Why? Because you got something that's on your record from 5, 6 years ago. Then you're going to be running in the Victim Olympics. Robert Dalton said, Anton be telling. I'll tell if you in my neighborhood doing something. I'll tell if you steal something from me. Hold on, listen. You can miss me with the no snitching. Y'all can miss me with the no snitching. I don't give a piss about nothing that you're talking about. I mind my business. But when you start affecting what I got going on in my neighborhood, in my city, now I'm the type of person, forget the telling part. I'm going to tell you the type of person I am. I'm the type of person that'll tell you, hey, man, you need to go and pick up your trash, bro. Like, I will pull up on you and be like, hey, man, why you throw your stuff out of the door like that? Why you got to disrespect our city? Honest to God, it has been multiple times where I will see somebody throw something out of their car. Chances are I can look at their license plate and tell that they're not from the city.
Right.
I will pull up on them and be like, hey, man, that's dirty, bro. Why you do that? You ain't going to do that in your own neighborhood.
Right.
You're not going to do that in your own neighborhood. I'm the type of person to see you doing something you ain't supposed to do and be like, hey, man, take that back where you came from. Take that back to where you came from. I'll let you know straight up.
They do that up here in Pennsylvania, out here in the Poconos, man. You see it all the time on the side of the road. You'll see like a garbage bag thrown here and there. And it's not, 9 times out of 10, it's not the people from here. 9 times out of 10. But you do have some savages that live up here that'll throw their garbage out in the street. Full bag, right on the side of the, grassy area. It makes no damn sense. Like, you live here. This is where you live at. I mean, it's beautiful up here. And when you see like a garbage bag filled with garbage, that shit sticks out like a sore thumb up here. But people don't care. People do not care, man. They don't give 2 fucks. They got that inner city mentality. That ghetto ass New York mentality. Oh, I'm done with my McDonald's. Let me just throw this shit out the window because I don't want this smelling up the car. Savages. That's what they do. And as far as like snitching, I never understood, especially when I became a detective, when people would be like, yeah, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. That's your job. That's your job to figure it out, right? That would be the sentiment amongst people when we would go and try to ask questions. Hey, do you know anything? I know you know something. I know the streets is talking. The streets are always talking. But they would want to remain silent. Meanwhile, they know damn well who did it. They know damn well who shot who. And then they wonder why crime still runs rampant in these inner city neighborhoods. Because they got this, oh, I'm not snitching mentality. What does that mean? I'm not snitching. Okay. That's why the Bronx is still the same way. They got that same dumbass mentality. You still gonna have them killers living in your building, terrorizing your neighborhood. And the sad thing about it is that, in all honesty, the people that live in the projects, the people that occupy the projects, I'm going to say 95% of the people that occupy the projects are really good people. That's right. I know some of you are like, what? No, dead ass. 95% of the people that occupy the projects are great, hardworking people. It's the 5%, and maybe not even the 5%. Maybe it's 2.5%. The other 2.5% are just following the other 2.5%. But it's 2.5% that make up for 100% of the crime that happens in these neighborhoods. Only 2.5%. All the robberies and the burglaries, and they're all done by the same people. It's just a handful. So whenever we would have patterns and stuff like that, it's not that we're looking for one or two people that are doing it. Especially during this time of year. During this time of year, you know, a lot of people walking around with gifts and money and stuff like that. Yo, these dudes are out there. This is shopping for them. So whenever we would get a pattern, we knew, all right, we're looking for one dude, man. I don't care what he was wearing. It's one guy, one or two guys. Shout out to the old ladies that be looking out the window all day, every day. The old grandmas looking out the window. They know everything. Shout out to them. Because those are the ones that be telling. You know, it was Pookie, but you ain't hear from me. Mm-hmm. That's how it be. It was Pookie. Mm-hmm. His mama be working hard, but he be outside too much. Yep. And I be seeing him going through everybody's pockets. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Williams. That's how it be. Let's continue.
Hey, man, that's dirty, bro. Why you do that? You ain't gonna do that in your own neighborhood. You not gonna do that in your own neighborhood. I'm the type of person to see you doing something you ain't supposed to do and be like, hey, man, take that back where you came from.
See, but that's how you get yourself into some shit.
I'll let you know straight up. Hey, man.
Come on, man. You ain't letting, it depends. I'm sure, Anton, you looking in the car first to see who it is. You know what I'm saying? You go look at the car to see who it is first, man. You're just gonna not jump off, pop your mouth off like that to some random person. Because you could be talking to a killer.
We don't do that here. We got a different standard. And if more people actually stood up for the right thing, we wouldn't be having half of this stuff that we having inside of our society, because they would know, or they would get checked, or they would think twice about it, because that's now your cultural norm. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to get it popping with the show. Cynthia Haynes says, thank you, Brother Anton, for keeping us updated with the news around the world. We love you. I love you too, Cynthia. Shout out to you. And then my dog, Tech Coach Ralph, says a big thank you to the Wealth Building Journey, who led a stock market 101 fireside chat in a Discord on Saturday to get us ready for Stock Club. Hey, listen, we are a community of people that are running it up, taking care of business, and pouring into each other. Make sure y'all tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. Shout out to all of my bag chasers that's running it up and taking care of business. And shout out to the Wealth Building Journey. I love that. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started? Y'all ready to get it popping? All right. So initially, I thought I was going to start this show with Trump. But apparently that wasn't in the cards, all right? And the reason that it wasn't in the cards is because last night, as I was planning for the show, or I was kind of getting my notes together of the different things that I wanted to tackle, based off of what I had seen over the weekend. Last night, one of the things that hit the news, and it was very, very important for us to cover, not something that I necessarily agreed with, but last night it hit the news and the airways, and the big caveat or the big thing was Jay-Z now being accused of getting with a 13-year-old along with Diddy back in 2000. Check it out.
Rap and media mogul Jay-Z now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs. Now, this lawsuit was originally filed back in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Diddy as the defendant. But it was just refiled today to include Jay-Z now, whose real name is Sean Carter. Of course, he's the husband of Beyonce. The anonymous accuser alleging the assault occurred after she was driven to an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards. The suit says she was offered a drink that made her feel, quote, woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Shortly after, the suit claims Jay-Z and Diddy entered the room where she was resting, eventually sexually assaulting her. And now, just in the last hour, we are hearing from Jay-Z and his team of lawyers. They are denying the claim and say that they are the victims of blackmail, saying, quote, I will not give you one red penny, and my only heartbreak is for my family.
Let me stop there and let me give my opinion. I see my dog Wealth Build.
Let me give my opinion first. Could it have happened? Sure, it could have. I'm not going to say, why wait this long, to file your complaint and all that stuff, even though that they're not, no one's going to get locked up for it. Like, I think the statute of limitations for rape, I believe it's 7 years, depending on where it happened. So they're suing for money. That's it. Money. Obviously, they're going to tarnish his name or his legacy or whatever. But could it have happened? Of course it could have. He's Jay-Z, right? And then obviously, if you have all these people coming out accusing Diddy of doing what he was doing, and it just doesn't look good. So you're kind of like guilty, you have to prove yourself innocent because right now you're just guilty. Anybody associating with Diddy is guilty. And like I said, could it have happened? Absolutely, man. 100%. Why wait until now? I don't know. Everybody has their reasons, man. People think they're not going to be, believed. No one's going to believe me, blah, blah, blah. I get it.
The journey, he says Jaguar was actually right. I pray on everything that as I continue to become more successful, and in 2025, when I'm passing through my hotel lobby, that somebody don't see me ever in life and then be like, hey man, Anton, he at me, side at me, and then he slapped me in the back of my neck. And then somebody don't pop up in the chat and say, see, I knew Anton did it. Where did we get off automatically convicting people in
I'll fix the lips later.
I'm so confused with that because just a few years ago, we were sitting here as guys saying we don't believe in the Me Too movement.
That's true.
Honest to God. And let me say this because, sometimes I say stuff that
let's work on this eye.
People that don't agree with me, and that's cool. A lot of people don't agree with me. I don't necessarily operate in the echo chamber, so I'm cool with that. But I just got to be honest. And I'm not honest for the fact of being popular right now. I'm honest because, later on, I like to say I told you so. Just a few years ago, we were saying, hey, man, what is this Me Too movement thing? You can't just accuse people and think that you're going to get a payout as a result of it. Connie says you don't have a reputation for that, though, Anton. It doesn't matter if people have a reputation or not. The law says innocent until proven guilty.
Let me get my gloves.
B, how come there's never a criminal complaint? And then C, How come there's always a lawsuit? I don't believe anybody by default until they can prove that it's the truth. You're not ever under any circumstances. I could hate you and you can be my enemy. It could be the very person that I have at the top of my list of the person that I hate the most. But in no way, shape, or form do I do three things. Number one, I do not wish death on people. Number two, I don't by default wish jail on somebody unless you are convicted of a crime, you are proven to be guilty, and then you do need to serve your time. And number three, I do not wish for people to not be able to provide for their family. Those are my three things that I do not wish on people. I don't wish for somebody to go broke as far as not being able to provide for their family. I believe regardless of whether I agree with you or not, you could be as sassy as hell, but it doesn't take away your right to be able to provide for your family and operate as a human. Number two, I don't wish jail on people just because I don't like them. And number three, I don't wish death on people. I don't. I genuinely don't. So nothing lines up for me. Nothing for this lines up for me. Let me go ahead and continue to play it.
Joining us now to break this all
Doesn't
down
mean it
as
didn't
it's
happen,
happening,
though.
News Nation law and justice contributor, former FBI special agent Jennifer Coffendorfer. Jennifer, thanks for...
Stacey Hogan says, why are people defending him? Who's defending him? I just don't believe half of what y'all say, Stacey. Stacey, if you came up and you said somebody did something to you, I wouldn't believe you by default either. I believe in the justice system and it's innocent until proven guilty. What do you mean? Why would I
don't know about
why would
that.
I believe her? We don't even know her. We don't even see her. You don't even know what she looked like. You ain't never met her a day in your life. So somebody could just say anything, and then we just by default supposed to believe them. Why? Because he's a celebrity?
I don't believe in the justice system
Absolutely. Thanks for having
wholeheartedly,
and
man.
so we just received a response from the victim's lawyer.
Pretty
really
ridiculous
just in the
to
last
say,
few
Anton.
minutes. Take a look. This is on social media. A lawyer, Tony Busby, saying Jay-Z has, quote, tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff, but his conduct has had the opposite impact. He goes on to say that the allegations speak for themselves, and he will let the facts come out in court.
I'm going to
not in
address
the media.
later on in this program.
What do you make of this real-time back and forth that we're seeing between these two parties tonight?
Well, it is interesting, and I think it's because Jay-Z came out so strongly and said, listen, I'm going to go after you, and then he filed a suit quickly on the heels of the other suit against Busby and the accusers. So because of that, you're seeing this taunting sort of back and forth in the media.
Do you believe that we may see Jay-Z face
I know,
a
Jay,
judge?
I'm going to get there.
And if so, when would we see him in court? Any indication there yet?
Well, we're definitely going to see him, I believe, on this suit. There are so many details. You know, they describe a house, a driveway, another woman being there. They discuss about a driver taking her. So she's locked into this story now, and that means there could be additional witnesses to corroborate her story or refute
It doesn't
the
mean
story.
that,
Yeah, I know you've mentioned the
like, it doesn't mean that she didn't give, she might have all the details in the world. She could have all the details in the world. Doesn't mean that she volunteered to do it. She could have volunteered. What's crazy is that, and this is why, I understand where Anton is coming from. What's crazy is you can give consent to have sex and to do all the freaky shit in the world, right? And throughout the process, the minute the woman says, oh, okay, well, this doesn't feel right, I feel like a dirtbag, in her mind, she doesn't want it anymore. In her mind, at that moment, that's rape. She might try to push you off a little bit, tell you no, stop it. Meanwhile, the dude is like, that's turning him on, and he's under the impression that you want more. That's a real touchy situation. It's a very interesting situation because you can't really tell anybody, how they feel. You can't say that what she was feeling at that moment was wrong. And if that was a scenario, if that's the case, let's just say she consented in the beginning and then halfway through she didn't, that's a problem. Like, how do you measure that in a court of law, if that's the case? How do you measure giving consent? Like, yeah, I consented to get high and we were all getting high together and all that. And yeah, we've had sex in the past. And yes, you know, on a regular, I would go there and all that. But this one time, I just didn't feel it. How do you measure that, man? How do you prosecute that? Or how do you even defend that? I don't know. That's why it's a touchy case. That's why you should just get married, have some sort of dick control, have a family, stay busy, stay in the gym, even if you're freaking rich, even if you have money. It'll all come back to haunt you at one point or another. And it's coming back to haunt these individuals.
Specificity of the details really stand out to you in this filing. Do you find it strange that the filing originally did not include Jay-Z, just Diddy, and now Jay-Z is suddenly added today? I mean, does that make Jay-Z's addition in any way less credible, or is this not in fact so unusual?
That's so weird to me. So wait a minute, you telling me? Because again, it doesn't line up for me. For me, it don't line up. So you can file an original lawsuit to say Diddy. Now you're going to take that lawsuit back and you're going to refile it to also include Jay-Z. And Jay didn't wait. Jay wasn't silent about it. He was like, listen, you're not going to get one dime out of me.
Right.
You're not getting one dime out of me. I'm not settling, and the only thing that I'm angry about is how it's affecting my family. Only thing that I'm angry about is how it's affecting my family. Hey, where the parents at? Where the parents at? I'm just curious, just trying to figure it out. Where's the parents at? Why was the lawsuit amended to now all of a sudden include somebody else? Was he not a part of the original story that she said when she went to the lawyer? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. This ain't even a criminal complaint. This is not even a criminal complaint. This is a civil suit. This means that you going for money.
Correct.
So your lawyer, because this is what's being reported. I did a little bit of research early this morning when I woke up. So this is what's being reported. The lawyer actually went after Jay. They never filed a lawsuit at first. They went to Jay and said, hey, listen, my client feels some type of way about it and we want a settlement. This is what's being reported. My client feeling some type of way.
You guys remember when
and they want
the creepy porn lawyer tried to do the same shit to Donald Trump? To try to extort him out of money? Maybe the same thing could be happening to Jay. That guy, this attorney obviously didn't learn from the last one. Creepy porn lawyer. You guys remember that?
a settlement. So listen, we don't have to file this lawsuit and publicly try to embarrass you and tie you to Diddy if you just want to make sure that you go ahead and get that payment. And Jay said, nah, listen, the minute that you do anything, I'm going to file a lawsuit back against you and I'm coming for you. So you going to shake me down? And you know why they're able to do that? Because it's easy to finesse the people and believe in whatever it is that you want them to believe. This is the whole reason why the Me Too movement got moving in the first place.
It's not unusual when they're still digging up information and facts to prove the allegations that they're trying to make. In addition, remember, this 13-year-old says there's a female there. That has not been disclosed either. That will be very interesting because she could be culpable in this as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do you expect we are going to be seeing other celebrity names added and refiled in other lawsuits involving Diddy?
I do. I think this really has a web that wraps around many different people, and I think we're going to see a lot more people named.
So let me go to another report because I always like to use multiple different sources. let's see what they got to say on this new development.
And now to that emphatic and determined denial from one of the most recognizable names in the world.
NBC News was the first to report that Jay-Z is being accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at a party back in 2000.
Tonight, NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi is in our newsroom with more on the new lawsuit. Camilla.
Jonathan and Kathy, the accuser.
You got to take the news channels with a grain of salt as well, man. Especially, I don't even watch the news. That's why I'll choose to go on YouTube and then watch these guys that report the news, because the news channels, look how happy she sounded. Like, if I wasn't looking at her, but I could hear her in my ears. And it was like she sounded happy to report that Jay-Z was accused of rape. And it sounds like he's already convicted. Like, he was already charged, tried, and proven guilty, according to her. And if you're not, there's a lot of stupid people in this world. They would automatically assume that Jay-Z is guilty by listening to this, which is terrible, right? I mean, the enthusiasm that she's displaying on national television when how she's saying it is just crazy to me. I don't understand how we allow that to happen. Why not just report it? Report the news with no feelings. But this is how ABC sells, their stuff. Oh, we're so proud that we were the first to get it. I wonder how much money they paid to receive it first. I wonder how much money they gave the lawyer, to receive it. Because I'm sure the lawyer was like, you got to give me some money if you guys want to be the first to report this. Just sounds nuts to me, man.
In this civil lawsuit is only being identified as Jane Doe. The suit was initially filed back in October.
Nah, I think people should need to reveal themselves.
Absolutely.
And I also believe that if somebody accused somebody of something and it's proven that they lied, I think that they should have to do the same.
Absolutely.
Thing, whatever was going to happen to the person that they accused. That's what I think should happen,
yep.
Personally. I think, and that's how we can get rid of all of this stuff.
Yep.
I think that people that accuse people of things, if they found to lie, and if they finesse, I believe that they should have to receive the same sentence.
Yep.
Or whatever it is that the payout for whatever it is that they're accusing the other person of. That's my personal belief.
In New York.
So the reason why we don't do that, this was a thing back in the early 90s. They would tell us, we're not going to arrest the complainant because we don't want to victimize the victim. Whatever that means. And that's exactly what that's exactly that. I don't know, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if it started in the 90s or maybe it was like this well before me, maybe, I don't know. But to me, I just find that to be ridiculous. If we can prove that you lied and it was a blatant lie, you deserve to be arrested. And they don't do it. They don't practice it in big cities, in big blue cities. They don't do it.
Sean Diddy Combs was listed as a defendant. Jay-Z's name was added to the lawsuit that was refiled today.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Bombshell allegations Sunday against Jay-Z. A civil lawsuit is accusing the rapper, whose legal name is Sean Carter, of allegedly raping a 13-year-old at a house party in New York with Sean Diddy Combs after the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. NBC News was the first to break the story. The lawsuit was filed by Texas attorney Tony Busby, who also represented socialite Rebecca Grossman, the woman convicted of second-degree murder in a crash that killed 2 boys in Westlake Village. Here's entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas.
So there's no telling what other bombshells and allegations are going to be coming out when it comes to Sean Combs, either against him or naming other celebrities. And I think that all we can do is continue to stay on the story. And I think that it's not just Busby. There are other attorneys filing these civil complaints. And also keep in mind that New York prosecutors, they are still in that grand jury process trying to bring a superseding indictment against Combs. So that could mean more criminal charges.
A statement from Carter Sunday, which also included personal accusations against Busby, reads in part, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
That's what Jay said. Jay said, I'm standing on business. Jay said, these allegations, think about this for a second, because, again, I know that women, they can't wait to jump on the bandwagon of the person that they used to support. Y'all was all for him when he was talking about Trayvon Martin. Y'all was all with it when y'all was talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion inside of these organizations like the NFL. Y'all was all with him when he was talking about bail reform over there in New York City. Y'all was absolutely all on this tip and was like, I love Jay-Z, New York. Y'all was all with him. Y'all was all with him. Jay said, listen, don't come to me for money. These allegations, this is what he said. This is a statement. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you, I want you, don't come to me talking about no money. I implore you to file a criminal complaint and not a civil one.
Well,
is that fair?
We know that can't happen. There's statute of limitations, so that's just talking nonsense.
Would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? I agree. These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that's the case. I don't really know where we would disagree on that. Why is this not a criminal complaint and it's a civil?
Because of the statute of limitations. That's
why.
why.
Why are you not trying to get me locked up, but instead you chasing money?
Because legally they can't do it.
Why are you not trying to get me locked up? You should be filing.
Because legally they can't do it. That's the answer to his question. The statute of limitations have expired. If every crime had no statute of limitations and we were able to prosecute a robbery 50 years ago, that happened 50 years ago, trust me, people would do it. That's the answer to the question. And he knows it. He's just gaslighting.
A criminal complaint. I don't really understand why is this not?
These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. The statement goes on to say, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down."
I think what's significant.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. That's the one thing that I cannot understand for the life of me. It's the one thing that I cannot understand for the life of me. Why are people, if they want justice, sending their lawyers to shake down these people? You know, I remember back in the day, was it Will Smith and a bunch of other celebrities? They said that they receive tens, if not hundreds, of lawsuits every single year. Every single year. And they have to pick and choose which ones would be worth it and how much it's going to cost them, because that's just the cost of doing business in a general sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm just not going for it.
That's crazy.
I don't.
It's why I don't want to be a celebrity, man.
I think it's the popular thing to do, and it's a dangerous precedent to set.
I'll pass.
Because
I don't want to be a celebrity.
What happens is this a trickle-down effect. You know what happens?
I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want any of that. Keep me out of it. More money, more problems. I just want to be comfortable. That's it. Comfortable and healthy. That is all. I don't want to have to worry about, oh my God, you know, we can't afford to buy the steak because the steaks are crazy. They're $40 for a pack. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to afford what I want within reason, obviously. I don't need a Ferrari parked outside, right? I don't need that. Probably wouldn't even know how to drive it, honestly, but I don't need it. Come on, man. If I ever hit the lotto, got super rich, I would have 2 cars, man. That's it. I'm not going to have a whole, I'm not into cars like that. I'd have an SUV and I'd have a nice luxury car. That's it. Nice little 7 Series BMW or something, you know? My dream car would be, my dream SUV, I probably would go with, it would be between a G500 AMG and a Range. One of the two. Nice Range Rover. That's it. That's all I would have. No Aston Martins, crazy nonsense like that. Where am I going? Where am I going? I'm married. I got 4 kids. Where am I going? Come on, man. This is ridiculous.
Happened as a result of that New York Survivors Act and what happened over there in LA? You know what happened? There was lawsuits against thousands, and I mean thousands of people, regular everyday people that you've never even heard about before, because it was a shakedown. I'm amazed. I'm amazed how easily finessed y'all are. Y'all believe anything. Believe anything. It's amazing to me. Just a couple years ago, y'all was like, man, this Me Too movement is crazy. Now somebody can come up and say, hey, man, I think he touched me. All right. Magnetar 17 says, I tell 2, matter of fact, I'm on my way to sleep.
I need some more coffee.
I'm going to have this video playing while I'm snitching. Mickey Ficky, shout out to you. Jay says, Anton, she was 13. Where was her parents? Come on. No, where's the criminal complaint? Aaron L says, I was with you on that Umar conversation last week until I heard those chicks on the panel toxic. Now I must ask that question before I marry a woman. What? Would a woman invest in you before you get married to her? So you let other people's opinions influence how you feel about what the original statement that was made for Umar Johnson? So are y'all that easily influenced to where you can change your mind and your position based off of what somebody else's opinion is? Aaron, what are you talking about? Aaron, you told me this. Let me tell y'all how I know y'all was talking. Y'all just be talking. Aaron says, I was with you on that Umar conversation last week until I heard those chicks on the panel toxic. Now I must ask that question before I marry a woman. Now, Aaron, let me tell you how capped you are. I'm going to tell you how capped you are. Aaron, you don't even believe in marriage. You don't believe in marriage. So what are you talking about? Aaron, you told me for years that you grilled me. Anton, what's the benefits of marriage? Man, I don't believe in that. I'm never doing that. Now all of a sudden you're gonna ask that before you marry a woman. When did you start even considering marriage?
Ran out of coffee. I had to make some more.
Maybe I missed something. Did I miss something? Did I miss something? I'm just confused. I want to make sure that we all on the same page. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. Now you believe in marriage? Why would you get married now? Because you was adamantly against it. See, I remember everything. Now you will want to question whether or not a woman would invest in you for 2 years, paying you $700 a month before you would marry her? Come on, man. Come on, dog. All right. Let's continue. I just got this crazy memory, man. I remember. Y'all not going to finesse me, bro. Well-Building Journey says, I'll clarify this needs to play itself out in court. On a separate note, there have been lots of allegations of Jay-Z at many Diddy parties. Okay, well, who is it?
So
Jaguar,
what?
right? Jerry says, I do find it weird that Jay-Z responded to the allegations himself. He usually speaks through a rep or a lawyer. Hopefully this is not true. So a person can't defend themselves. I got y'all. I just want to make sure. Let me make sure I don't never defend myself if somebody makes sure that they say anything about where I'm from or what kind of. Don't worry about it. There are no statute of limitations for child sexual assault. As a parent, I will want the person locked up. Facts. Agreed. Stock club today. Yeah, I did not say stock club today. I said block club is Wednesday. Y'all just be making stuff up. They file civil because of the burden of proof is lower, more likely than not. And in a criminal case, beyond a reasonable doubt, by the way, he should sue Jaguar. No, what happened with O.J. Simpson is that they lost the criminal filing, and then they still was able to come back and get civil penalties as a result of it. So it's crazy about how things is just rocking out today. No Jesus, easily move unless it's evil. I've always considered marriage. That's the question. We're not gonna go there, Aaron. Shout out to everybody that looked out. Shout out to the new bag chasers. Shout out to all of the Patreon members. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's move on to the next story. I'm not rocking with that Jay-Z story. I got to give y'all an update on what's going on for this United Healthcare thing, but I'm really, really perplexed at the fact that people are cheering on this man's passing. It bothers me.
FBI agents and NYPD officers are now searching across the East Coast for the man who killed the United Healthcare CEO. Officers have expanded the search to Atlanta, Georgia, as well as sending dive teams to Central Park, looking for any evidence to figure out who he is. Investigators tell Fox News the suspect shot and killed the CEO, then hopped on a bike and rode to Central Park. He then dropped his backpack in the woods and got into a taxi. Rob D'Amico is a former FBI agent and the founder of Sierra One Consulting, and he joins me now. Rob, good morning to you. So do you think police are going to find this guy, and if so, when?
I think they're going to find him.
I don't think they're going to find him. I don't think so. And I know they got multiple detectives from different parts of New York City working on this case. They got the best of the best working on here. Because the area that this occurred in, I used to work in this area. I was assigned to Midtown North Precinct at one point as a patrol sergeant before I left. And this is the type of high profile crime that needs the best of the best. And I'm not saying that the detectives in that precinct can't, how would I say it? Because I don't want to shit on anybody. Here's what I would say, that they don't get that type of crime on a weekly or monthly basis. They're not used to getting high profile crimes like that. And so they're not equipped. They don't have the know-how or the experience, depending on how young that squad is. Those group of detectives, they're not going to have the mindset to be able to handle this. They have pressure. The higher ups have pressure from the higher ups, from the higher ups and the high ups, and then it all, rolls downhill, and all that stress will land on that detective. So there's multiple detectives working this case. And I'm sure the feds are doing their thing as well, assisting in the investigation. And I don't see why they wouldn't. But yeah, I just don't think that they're going to find him. I think this guy's gone. I think that whole water bottle thing was just a ruse. Like, I don't see it. The fake money found in a knapsack, all that stuff that's just game. I think this dude was a professional, and he did it right, and he's gone. I could be wrong. If they catch him, that's why New York City will always be held, the NYPD, as the greatest police department in the world.
Eventually, everyone gets caught, so to speak.
But this is going to be one of those cases where it's going to go cold. It's already cold.
And that there wasn't a lot of planning on the left side of the X being the actions he took. But now that we're looking at some of the video and other information that we got, it seems that he has actually very good planning on the other side, switching him from a bicycle to a taxi, dumping his backpack, and then going to Port Authority. Don't know if he got on a bus, but it's assumed because they can't find a video of him coming out of Port Authority. So when you start looking at that, you start understanding he had this well planned out after, and he may have gone to ground. I think he got out of the immediate area, but I think if he has everything well planned, he knew police would figure out who he was, that they would start asking the public. And if he's gone to ground, he's not getting out in public. I think it's really going to start prolonging the manhunt for him.
This guy is watching the Millionaire Morning Show, looking at Anton from AntonDaniels.com, report on him. He probably is on a VPN in Tokyo somewhere, watching us, having a good old time, sipping on a Mai Tai, and chilling with some Asian women right next to him. This guy is, in my opinion, I don't think that they're going to catch him. I think that he long gone. I think that he long gone.
This is why I fuck with you, Anton. You know it.
This guy was so meticulous that he knew when the shift change was happening for
Absolutely.
the NYPD. He knew when the shift change was popping off for the NYPD. If you think that they are going to catch this guy, and he had a silencer, he knew the shift change.
You're basically dreaming if you think they're going to catch
He
him.
had a prosthetic face on. They say that he didn't pull his mask down unless he was actually.
He definitely
eating.
had
He
a
probably
prosthetic
lifted it
face.
up under the mask. He was flirting with chicks on his way there.
Yep.
Took an e-bike, dropped it off inside of
Yep.
Central Park, which is massive, and it really ain't a whole lot of coverage when it comes to cameras. And then he was on his way, and they ain't caught him. I didn't watch the first 48. I know what happened on the first 48. On the first 48, they said that the likelihood of you solving a crime significantly diminishes after 48 hours. Then they go to, and then they put up the first 48 along the bottom of the screen. I seen first 48. I used to watch it. I used to watch y'all snitching inside of the precinct as long as they gave you a corned beef sandwich and a Diet Coke with sauerkraut on it. I seen y'all snitching. Ain't no way in the world that they ever gonna catch this guy. But what it does is it continues to make authorities look stupid, and it makes the mayor look crazy.
Yeah, we basically know what this guy's whole face looks like. Are you surprised that
I don't think that that's even his face.
That's
No
not
way.
his face.
Family member, a former classmate, a neighbor, hasn't spoken out and said, I know that guy, and this is his name?
I do find it surprising. They may have done that already to the police, and the police don't want to come out and say that they actually have that name because it can harm the investigation. It
Absolutely.
may have happened, but normally when it does, you get some media leakage that it actually has. So I am surprised. But his immediate family members, if it's a crime of passion and he did this based on a loved one dying for lack of health care or denied health care, they may be more understanding of his plight. But I do think it's eventually going to come out that we find out who this is, and I think that's going to happen shortly.
So he mentioned that his backpack was
I'll
found
be
in
interested
Central
to see when
Park.
that
There was a
happens.
jacket
Yep.
and
I'll
also
admit that I'm wrong,
Monopoly
too.
money apparently found inside, and there's all sorts of speculation that maybe that Monopoly money was a way of saying that United Healthcare has a monopoly over health insurance.
You're using
That
symbolism.
stuff, you go wild
Still
over
gonna
that
have
on
movies
social
about him and
media
all
and on the
kinda
internet.
junk.
But do things like that, do those details, those strange revelations, help police in finding who this person is or impact this investigation at all?
I'm not sure if it helps. I do know him writing those words on the spent shell casings, pointing to the book from 2010 that talked about healthcare, I think does message his motives. Some people think, oh, it was a way to throw the police off. If he did do that to throw the police off and killed him for another reason, there's a lot more into this than we understand. The monopoly money, I think I've heard that it's a monopoly. I've heard it's just the amount of money and it's saying to it. There may be a very benign reason on the monopoly money, so I haven't made that jump that it's connected to it or if he's trying to say something. But I think all that'll come out. I don't know anything that the monopoly money would give the police to further the investigation as just maybe another piece of evidence if they can put his fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
He looked like every other European man that I've ever seen in my life. He looked
Absolutely.
just like all of the people that got pickup trucks right around where I live.
Absolutely.
This guy, come on, man, stop. How long has it been? A week now?
Yep.
Over a
It's
week?
already
You guys
cold.
think that they're gonna catch this
It's
guy?
already cold.
Yeah, okay. But the more troubling thing is, it's not about all of the stuff.
The case
that's
is already
going on
cold.
when it comes to the details as they continue to find the backpack and the dive teams. They got dive teams out here hunting them down. They got a dive team out here. I'm pissed. They're spending probably millions in resources on hunting this guy down. The most perplexing part about this whole conversation isn't for me necessarily what happened and how it happened and the fact that he didn't have any security. We gonna all have a theory about that. The real more perplexing thing is people's reactions and responses to it.
Well, that killing is drawing unexpected reaction on social media. Many people expressing support for the shooter. As Fox 11's Gina Silva reports, this has everything to do with the high cost of health care.
That's just because misery loves company. That's all.
Nobody deserves to get their health care claims denied either.
All over social media, people are posting.
Is that a fair assessment? Nobody, I mean, absolutely nobody ever deserves to get their health care claims denied. Okay, interesting.
How they feel about the victim.
Someone said thoughts and prayers and deductibles.
And the shooter in the United Healthcare murder case.
The assassin was super impressive, okay? We've never seen anything like this.
Hey, rebuke men in bonnets that's trying to be funny on the internet. I don't rock with that.
Right.
The high-profile killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has sparked discussions about healthcare policies, corporate practices, and economic frustrations.
United Healthcare, by a 90% margin, denied more claims than any other insurance company on the market.
Deny, depose, defend. If that isn't a loud, clear message to all these CEOs across the board of these health insurance companies, I don't know what is.
We feel like we're living parallel lives with the elite in our country.
That Danish guy is a social media influencer with 2 million followers on TikTok. He is a skilled internet sleuth known for finding people. While he does not condone killing anyone, that Danish guy has no interest in tracking down the CEO's killer.
A lot of us aren't that sympathetic towards somebody who has caused the death of many countless people. I mean, it's unknown. 1/3 of this healthcare company's claims are denied, approximately 1/3. That is outrageous. It's more than double the industry standard.
He's not the only online sleuth refusing to join the manhunt, and many on social media are glad to see that.
I just want to remind everyone that the snitches get the stitches, and the stitches might not be covered by your insurance plan.
You can have a claim and it's not going to be covered.
Psychologist David Swan.
See what I said? That frame of mind, snitches get stitches. Then don't complain when your family member is deleted, right? And the detectives can't solve the case because no one is telling, right? So don't be mad. Don't call the police if that's your frame of mind when something happens to you. Don't call the police. Handle it on your own. Because snitches get stitches. And that's that for. And don't complain when your neighborhood, like the Bronx, never gets fixed. And no one invests money within that area, which is not a big area. And it'll always remain what it is. A shithole. It is what it is. Why? Because that mentality of snitches get stitches, that's what keeps places like the Bronx the way it is for decades upon decades and decades. Snitches get stitches. There was another thought that I wanted to say, but
Johnson finds some social media posts
see if I could.
insensitive. With 2 million followers on TikTok, he is a skilled internet sleuth known for finding people.
Something else I had to
He
say.
does not condone killing anyone. That Danish guy has no interest in tracking down the CEO's killer.
A lot of us aren't that sympathetic towards somebody who has caused the death of many countless people. I mean, it's unknown. 1/3 of this healthcare company's claims are denied. Approximately 1/3. That is outrageous. It's more than double the industry standard.
He's not the only online sleuth refusing to join the manhunt, and many on social media are glad to see that.
I just want to remind everyone that the snitches get the stitches, and the stitches might not be covered by your insurance plan.
You can have a claim and it's not going to be covered.
Psychologist
Shut up.
David Swanson finds some social media posts insensitive, but sees them as mere frustration and a form of venting.
I certainly don't think that these people are glorifying murder or agree with murder. But I think what this is it really kind of speaks to how frustrated people are.
I see an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
I see an episode of things that we would see on the internet. I don't know if y'all ever watched any of those movies or those Netflix movies or something like that, where it'd be like, oh man, they're gonna have a killing and they're gonna broadcast it online. And then the people be like, get him, get him, get him, and all of that other type of stuff. I don't know if y'all ever seen any of that type of stuff, right? I've seen those type of movies. This literally reminds me of that type of scenario where people are so bloodthirsty that they have lost their humanity. I honestly just believe that most people have lost their humanity.
Yep.
I think that everybody wants somebody to pay for whatever it is that's going on, and it doesn't matter if they know you. It don't. You know why I run it up? You know why I'm so focused on living every day right now? I don't even care about legacy no more. I don't think that anybody should care about legacy unless they actually putting it into their children. You know why I don't care no more? Because legacy don't mean anything. People will twist and turn your legacy to mean whatever it is that they want it to mean. By the time you get to the top of the totem pole, I don't even think that people should shoot for the top of the totem pole no more, because the whole society is going to be against you when they're going to say that you did something negative to get it.
Yep.
I don't think that society, it don't matter no more. Legacy don't matter no more. Run it up.
I mean, even though saying what he just said, like, you know, once you make it to the top, people are going to talk shit about how you made it. Well, if you're bragging about selling drugs and flipping kilos to pay for studio time the way most rappers do, the way Jay-Z has done, it's all known. We all know the reason how he was able to do what he did, and it was through drugs, right? Should he be entitled to all that money, all his fame? Like, what kind of message was he sending back in the day to young men who wanted to be like him, out there chasing that money, selling crack, flipping keys? This was a thing, you know, it's still said today. Why should we allow them to keep that success? They did it the wrong way. I don't know. That's like self-snitching. Like, why would you even write that in your songs? It's crazy.
Just and live your life. Once you get there, don't get so big to where you so visible to everybody to where they're able to point you out, disappear, get off the grid, and take your money and go live elsewhere. Because society will hate you for becoming successful. We have grown so bitter, so angry, so demonic in general, that I believe that society has become so angry that they are bitter at success. No, it's the healthcare claims. Man, half of y'all don't even have insurance. Shut up.
Right.
Half of these people was out here complaining about Obamacare. People are so fickle. Obamacare is stupid. We should never get Obamacare. And then they said that they didn't like Obama getting Obamacare. And then they got mad at the healthcare coverages that they was getting. And then they said that they was going to move to Canada, but they didn't want to move to Canada because the emergency rooms is too slow. And that because Canada has free health care for all, which I don't know how true that is. Then they said, no, I don't want Canada because I don't want communism. Then they said, I want free market capitalization. Then they said, oh, no, wait a minute. I want this, I want that, I want that. People are, man, listen, they go with the wind. Half of these people don't even go to the doctor. When the last time you been to the doctor? My great grandma had cancer. Well, she shouldn't have been smoking so many cigarettes. Half of y'all don't even go to the doctor.
Right.
Half of y'all just show up to the
Let me get my
hospital
coffee.
knowing you ain't gonna pay that bill and go in, get whatever it is that you want to get, and walk out. Now everybody is so upset and they had a denied healthcare claim. No, it's some people that genuinely have a gripe. The rest of y'all is just bandwagoners. I seen people that's 18, 19, 20 years old, ain't never even had healthcare coverage in their life, sitting there complaining on the internet, talking about what the insurance companies is. Y'all just want to have something to rail against. People want to have something to be mad about. They want to join in on the chorus. Oh my God, I can't believe what's going on in the healthcare industry. I don't have nothing to complain about because I've never had a claim denied. I've always had the top healthcare coverage. Anything that I ever wanted to do, I always did it, and I just never had no problem. I pay into the system, it pay out. Listen, I'm one of the fortunate ones, apparently. Some of the other people feel like they need to have $3 million surgery and they're on Medicaid, Medicare. I got a solution for a lot of people. I got a solution for a lot of people. Why don't y'all move to Canada? Everybody said that they was going to move to Canada when Trump won anyway. Everybody said that they was going to move to Canada when Trump won the first time. Everybody said that they was going to move out of the country. Why don't y'all go and go get that Nigerian healthcare coverage? And I'm not saying that the insurance companies is good at all. Everything has its pros and cons, and some things has more cons than pros. But what I am saying is I'm never going to celebrate somebody else's death that I don't know, and I don't know the details behind it. I don't. Y'all don't even know that this guy was a CEO since 2021 of United Healthcare, but is not the CEO of United Healthcare Group, which is a conglomerate. Now I'm starting to see a list of CEOs that ain't even tied to the healthcare industry being listed and people putting their addresses online because they want to see blood. Real talk. I think that society is just miserable. I'm going to run up a bag, I'm going to get to it, and then I'm going to disappear before people can say, oh, he got too rich. No, I'm going to get that bag and I'm going to get up out of it. I did hear about the lookalike contest. They had a lookalike contest in New York City over the weekend where these silly, sassy men was out there. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on. I got to pull that up. Healthcare. Give me a second. I seen that foolishness. Look at this foolishness. I got to pull it up. Give me a second. I seen that dumb junk. You telling me y'all ain't got no jobs to go to. You ain't got no women to go and get. You ain't got no money to go and spend. You ain't got nothing to do. We got a bunch of white men. Let me tell y'all how miserable some of these people are. And please, y'all don't ever have to sit here and try to compare yourself to somebody of another race. Identity politics is dead. Let me show y'all how much free time these people got on their hands.
Wait, that's even better. Sorry. There's a musician? No, they were supposed to be
Look at these incels.
I just have a green jacket.
Look at these incels. They don't have nothing else to do. And then they're going to be sitting here talking about how women don't want to invest in their businesses in order to make sure that they align themselves with them for marriage. But look what you're doing in your spare time. Listen, if your mama catch you out there, you know she going to ground you. If your mother catch you as a 28, 29, 30-year-old man, if your mother catch you, especially the fat one on the left. Let me tell you about the fat one on the left. He got a whole job. Look at his keys. Everything about him says that he took off of work today in order to go out there and participate with his friends.
Right.
The one on the left is supposed to be at work today.
Right.
He don't even have the proper attire. He ain't got a hoodie. He ain't got a green jacket. This dude got on a Scully. He out there like this. He like this. This is the one on the left. Look at the one on the left. No, he's supposed to be serving them fries. He just like this. This how weird y'all look. Y'all are weird. Y'all some weirdos. You'll
Right.
miss out on work and miss out on getting the bag to go out there and participate with your friends so that you can have a viral moment and you smiling. That's why you broke. That's why other cultures have caught up to you and they are passing you by. You're supposed to be the leaders of this country. These is all Kamala Harris supporters, flat out.
Absolutely.
These is nothing but Kamala Harris supporters.
Absolutely.
You ain't got nothing better to do, big dog. Let me read some of the super chats. We're going to get there. We going to get there. 350 million people in this country. Probably 370 now that the migrant crisis is a little bit over. But didn't a civil case bring Diddy down? No, that CNN video brought Diddy down. In my opinion. My bad, AD. I thought Stock Club was this Monday. No, Block Club is going to be Wednesday after the show. This might be an inside job, not just a solo act. Maybe. I wouldn't doubt it. He goes from Power in real life. I've never watched one episode of Power. Bro had a Miss Doubtfire mask on. That's what it looked like to me. United Healthcare has the highest denial at 32%. I don't have United Healthcare. I used to have Blue Cross. I think I got Cigna now. I don't know. Natural Immunity says HR 5736 Smith Munt Propaganda Act is theater. Chadford Moore says, I don't agree with the killing. I also don't believe that legitimate claims should be denied when you pay insurance for years unless it's finessed. I agree with you.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Like
I don't understand like when it comes to car insurance. If you're paying car insurance every month, which we have to for those of us that have cars, and we've never been in an accident, why are we not getting part of that money back? Like, shouldn't we be getting part of that money back? Maybe half the money. Like, it's insurance, right? So every year you drive your car. I could be wrong. I don't know. Every year we drive our car, we don't get into accidents. Make it every 5 years. If you haven't gotten into any accidents in 5 years, we're going to give you half your money back. Because what if you never get into an accident your entire life? You're paying $400, $500 a month, $6,000 a year, close to $6,000 a year. Those of you who have terrible driving records, that's a lot of money. 10 years, $60,000. And they just get to keep that. So I get it. I understand. Like, we should be getting some of that money back. My opinion. I don't know.
Police called pregnant woman had a fight with cops. Okay. Geo Black says, Anton, this is all biblical. Oh, you read the Bible now. You're a Bible scholar. How many of y'all be reading the Bible? Anton, this is all biblical prophecy. It says in Matthew 24:12, because of the increase in wickedness, the love
I read
of
it
most
all.
will grow cold. I can't even say the word. That's been happening since the beginning of time, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Honest to God. Why Umar catching strays due to white men? Umar is really a white man in black skin. Real talk. Capitalizing off of the black people. Anyways, Anton don't know about poor living health care. What does that mean? I don't really understand what that means. Anton don't know about poor living health care. All right. Do y'all want to be Dusty? Like, do y'all want to do y'all want me to relate to y'all? Y'all want me to be like, oh man, I suffered too. Do y'all want, like, what do y'all want? What do y'all want from me? Y'all want me to relate to y'all? Anton don't know about poor living healthcare. Not that I can remember. I had two parents. And Anton's parents had a really good marriage. I don't know. What do you want me to do? You want me to trauma bond with you? I've lived in the United States of America. There has never been a time that I could not go to the hospital, even if I didn't have health care coverage. You could still go to the hospital and get health care coverage. What do you want me to do? Okay, what do y'all want me to do? Tell me, how do you want me to frame this? Do you not want me to have help? You don't know about the poor living conditions. You're right. Listen, I honestly, look. Honest to God. Well, I can't show you my computer. Let me see something. Honest to God, you know why I still work in corporate America? Because they give me that good health care coverage, and I ain't got to pay for it individually. I just did my renewals for 2025. I literally just did, recertified or whatever you want to do it, where you got to do it every single year before the end of November so that you can make sure that you got your health care coverage. I got everything. I got the extra insurance. I have extra life insurance. Pay me 10 times if anything was ever happened to me of whatever my salary plus my bonuses are. I got life insurance on my daughter, life insurance on everybody. I got the good stuff. I got the highest coverage that you can get. Honest to God, Rita stay at the doctor. She get checkups on everything. And then she gonna tell me, let me tell you what Rita gonna say to me. She gonna say, I think I'm about to get you that extra service. You gonna do this, you gonna do, I said, open enrollment, that's what it's called. Shout out to Michael Johnson. I just got done with open enrollment. Literally, I just did that open. Let me show you some of my coverage. Give me a second. See if I can get that popping off. Open enrollment. Let's see. Employee handbook. I got that good stuff. I got that good. Yes, I do. Anton, you don't know about. Where's the benefit part? Performance pay. Personal information, emergency contacts. No, that's not it. Let me see if I can find it. Employee handbook, my stuff. See if I can find my stuff. I'm going to look for it. Don't worry about it. I'm going to find it for y'all. Photo, emergency contacts, personal information, contact information, address, email, address changes, names, pay slips, view all, directory, benefits and pay. Got it. All right, so we're going to go to benefits and pay. Deductions. See what my deductions are. $401 Roth, federal, 401 medical. Oh, I got that good. I really do got the good. Okay, let me see something. View benefit details. I got that good. I'm telling you, I do. Benefit elections. Got that good right there. Look at this. Let me show you. Medical, Cigna, PPO traditional, dental, Delta Dental, vision, VSP, critical illness, basic life, accidental death, employee optional life, spouse optional life, additional pet insurance if I need it, home and auto insurance, short-term disability, employee assistance program. We got all of that. We are good on all of that. We pay all of our premiums, employer costs, my costs, total biweekly totals. Is good stuff. It's that good. You know what I'm saying? Anton, you shouldn't get a regular job. Don't worry about it. My daughter, she got that good coverage. Let's continue over. I want to make sure that we getting all of that good coverage. Get you some good insurance, all right? And that way you ain't out here trying to get rid of people. Let's move over to Eric Adams. So Eric Adams, ladies and gentlemen, recently has been going viral for his take on working with the Trump campaign or working with the Trump administration and taking a different position against these liberal views. Let's get into it. Well, first of all, let's get him talking about this manhunt because I want to see if he's going to catch the killer.
More developments now in the
That's because he's about to go to jail.
United healthcare executive in Manhattan this week. We saw images
So
of
he's
it.
doing everything he can to line up with
Police
the
releasing
people
these
that might be
photos
able
from
to
a
save him.
hostel on the Upper West Side of a person they say is, quote, wanted for questioning in connection with the shooting. Joining us right now for more on the manhunt in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams. Mr. Mayor, thank you for joining us this morning. This is an event and images that have shaken the city to its core, especially the business community that I think is now more worried than ever about their own security. Tell us about sort of where this investigation stands, and then we'll dig into maybe some of the broader implications.
Thank you, and good to see you again. We're asking every New Yorker and American to look at the picture, the photo, and to assist us. If you know him, if his face looks familiar, please reach out to our law enforcement agencies here or your local law enforcement agencies so that
You know what that
bring
means?
this person to justice and remove him off the streets of our country. This was amazing police work here. This was a fully masked individual, and because of our video surveillance system in this city, we were able to track him and get these videos, these photos that you see right now. It was not an easy task. Within just a few hours, the men and women of our law enforcement entities are going to bring this person to justice.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell us, is there any new progress that we don't know about beyond these images which have now been brought to the public in terms of where this investigation stands? Any suspects that you feel like you are closing in on or have a better insight into?
Yes, and there's a lot of new information that our detectives and other law enforcement entities were able to find based on their good old-fashioned police work.
Right.
You know why Eric Adams doesn't sound like a typical police officer? Like when Joe Esposito, when he was the police commissioner, he was never the mayor, but when he was the police commissioner, when you had Ray Kelly, let me tell you why. Even though he was a captain in the police department, and then ultimately, you know, obviously he went the political route. This individual right here, Mr. Adams, was a cop, but he wasn't a cop. He was a cop, but he wasn't arresting people. He wasn't out there arresting people. He rose through the ranks relatively quickly. I believe he may have only been a police officer for, if I say 5 years, it's too much. Like an actual police officer. I want to say maybe even 3. I was in the police department when he was in the police department. I was a sergeant when he was a lieutenant. And we were both in the Internal Affairs Bureau at the same time. And so I knew a lot about him, but what he did and what he was the president of the, I want to say the Guardians Association, which is a predominantly black union. And every time there was an incident involving, it can be involving a Spanish or white or blacks, even black, it didn't matter. Whenever there's an incident where the shooting looked bad, he would be out there opposing it. He was a union guy. He was never a street guy. He was never a street police officer. Never out there fighting crime. Never. Take a look at his arrest record. And that's your answer. That's why he sounds the way he does. He has no idea what's going on. He knows nothing about investigations, real investigations. He knows how to jam up a cop, for sure, but he doesn't know how to solve a homicide at all.
But as you know, there's a level of sensitivity that you don't want to do anything that's going to endanger the investigation or to tip off the suspect. We will have a full briefing when this person is brought to justice.
Mr. Mayor, do you have any sense? I mean, the speculation, as you know, that's rampant is that this is the result of this gentleman's job, and that he was targeted as a result of working in this insurance industry potentially. And that.
Hold on. Lydia, what are you talking about? Adams did this to NYC, defunding the police, open borders, sanctuary. What are you talking about? So,
Yeah.
listen, y'all.
Before, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro, but you weren't a police officer. I was. There's no such thing as defunding the police. That's right. You heard it from here. You heard it right here. There's no such thing as defunding the police. That's just a term that all these political pundits talk about for ignorant people who may not know exactly what that means. It's to get a rise out of people. It's to gaslight people, but there's no such thing as defunding the police. What that means is that they're not going to, they're probably going to shut down, for example, the infamous street crime unit, right? So the term, a unit called street crime unit will no longer exist because maybe they were involved. One of the officers was involved in a bad shooting. It looked bad. He got fired. Now they dismantle the street crime unit, and they're not going to fund it anymore. But what they'll do is they'll just invent something else. And they did that. So it went from street crime to anti-gang enforcement unit, or city anti-gang enforcement unit, which was known as CAGE in New York City. We did the same thing. I was part of the gang unit for, I would say, about 4 years. And so all that means is that you're taking funds that were once for street crime, and now you're reallocating those funds to another unit. That's all that means. It's not like you're, going to stop hiring. You can't even get people to take the job, let alone defund the police. That doesn't even make sense. People aren't lining up in droves to take the police department exam. It's just not happening. So this whole defund the police notion, it's stupid. It makes no sense. It's just taking funds from one unit and reallocating it to another. It's that simple.
I'd like to hold Eric Adams accountable just as much as the next person. However, you can't blame an assassin that has a well-planned plan to eliminate a CEO at shift change for police officers. Come on. This is not the mayor's fault. You can't blame everything. Man, my kid is bad. It's the mayor's fault. Man, my foot is hurting. It's the mayor's fault. Every single thing is not the mayor's fault, all right? You can't blame everything on everybody. That doesn't even make sense.
That this was targeted as a result of that, as opposed
Unfortunately,
to
that's how it works.
Some kind of family squabble or some other.
And I like to interact with the chat. The chat is my co-host of the show.
Event. The reason I ask this is we're on a business network. There's a lot of business executives that are watching, and I think asking the question, how safe are they?
Yeah, and I think your question is a good question. And, there's a balance here that I want to strike to, number one, ensure that all of the business people in this city, this is the Empire State, and we build empires here. This is the safest big city in America.
I think I'm going to start working on the hair.
Like,
how much time are we in?
I call Cap, but listen, that's cool. Cool.
An hour and 54 minutes.
Strike at the core
we'll continue.
of that title that we have. But this city is a safe city. We have an amazing police force, and they continue to have drove down crime the entire time that I've been in office. And so we're going to continue to ensure that safety with the omnipresence.
That's That's another huge political talking point when they say, oh, crime is down. No, it's not. Homicides might be down, but shootings are up. People aren't dying the way they used to back in the 80s because of technology. But people are getting shot all over the place, left and right. And then you got to take into account where you're not accurately or appropriately classifying the charge as the right charge. So you take an assault, they'll drop that down to harassment. You have a robbery, they'll drop that down to a grand larceny or a petty larceny. You have a burglary, they'll drop that down to a criminal mischief type crime. You have a murder, they'll drop that down to an assault 1, assault 2. Or an attempted murder, they'll drop that down to an assault 2. And they'll just keep dropping the classifications of these crimes. They'll keep dropping it down. So that way, towards the end of the year, when they have to report the numbers, the city looks like it's doing its job. That thank the police officers for doing their job, but that's not the case. The city is running rampant. The city is running rampant. You can't even get on a train without feeling like you're going to get mugged or robbed or assaulted, even thrown into the tracks. I mean, this is all BS. Whenever you hear Eric Adams, like I said, he was never a cop. Never. They all lie to you. Every single one of them, they lie to you. So they're always reclassifying these crimes and dropping them down for the better good of the city. So that way the city could remain the safest city in the world. Yeah, okay. Right.
About uniformed police officers and some of the tools that you don't see. But at the same time, as I want to ensure their safety, I do not want to do anything at all that's going to hamper the investigation and the apprehension of the person responsible for this crime.
Okay, I got a more complicated one for you, Mr. Mayor, which is, a lot of executives, senior executives, have what's called executive protection. That's the sort of parlance for the industry. Executive protection when you have a bodyguard or somebody who walks with you where you go. There are some people, big name billionaires that who walk around this city completely on their own, without any protection of any sort. There are others that may have even a lower profile that do have that protection for lots of different reasons. How do you think folks should feel about that?
Well, I think personal protection is a personal decision. You have not only those who are business executives, as you indicated, we have a high list of A-list celebrities and sports figures. But the beauty of New York City, you can actually blend right into the entire atmosphere of the city. I saw a photo the other day of Manning saying that this is the first time he took the subway system, because our subway system is the safest in almost always over 14 years.
What?
When you in New York,
Do Eric Adams got a stutter?
Everyday New York is a hustle
over
and
14
bustle
years.
going on with their
This dude's
daily
out of his
lives, and
mind.
They're not focusing on individuals, and people should
said,
go on, continue to live their lives. I think it was just.
He said our subways are the safest subways over 14 years. In the last 14 years, the subways have been atrocious. Atrocious. The only time I would say the subways and the city was safe, where you can walk around, was during the Giuliani administration. That would be the only time. And I didn't like him as a mayor. He gave us a couple of zeros, 2 straight years in a row. He was terrible when it came to contracts. This guy was the worst. But he demanded more for less. And he had police officers working their ass off to reduce crime, to make it to what it is today. You didn't have people jumping the turnstiles and just walking through the doors with no problems, not getting arrested. There was none of that. I mean, obviously there were, but it wasn't the way it is now where it's just so blatant. The city is a shit show right now. So all this stuff that he's saying, and I still have friends there. I still have friends that live in New York City. Whenever I go to New York City, it's a nightmare.
Just mentioned that's we're one of the #1 tourist destinations for 2025.
All right, all of this seemed like a little bit of a reach,
Yeah.
but we're going to take his word for it. That's not the thing that we
No,
want to
sir.
focus on. We want to focus on Eric Adams' perspective on working with Trump and going forward.
Mr. Mayor, I want to pivot to a different topic, which is immigration. You're meeting with Trump's border czar next week. You also, and you came on Squawk back in March and talked about those debit cards that you were advocating to be giving to migrants. That program is ended. But I'm curious whether you think in the end that was the right decision or the wrong decision, not to end it, but to begin it.
Yes, and they were not debit cards, they were food cards. And, you know, some of the sensationalism that was attached to it didn't understand the full mission. These were food cards. The law requires us to feed the migrants and asylum seekers that are here. We saw that there was food waste. And during the emergency, we gave them food cards where they had to purchase food on those cards. Instead of purchasing it from large conglomerates, we were able to spend the money locally in our local stores, our bodegas, our supermarkets. This was a smart idea of recycling the dollars within our city. And the reason we ended the program is because of the job we've done. 220,000 migrants and asylum seekers in the city, 170,000 we were able to move to the next leg of our journey because of smart policies. We brought down the cost of the migrants and asylum seekers. This cost our city $6.4 billion that the federal government should have picked up the price tag, and they didn't. So we made the right decision.
Why should the federal government? Why should the federal government have picked up the price tag when you were out there championing them when they were getting off the bus entering the city, clapping as they came through? You supported it. What are you talking about? Now you want to switch it up because election time is coming and you were about to go to prison possibly. And now you want to switch it up. This makes no sense. You're responsible for that. You allowed that because you didn't think Trump was going to make it.
Administration that we can work with to further secure our borders and deal with this immigration crisis we're facing.
Nope, I think that you made the wrong decision. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. See, I like the new direction that Eric Adams is taking. I'm a fan of the fact that he's going against.
Eric Adams is switching up right now hard.
One of the mayors that broke off from going against or going with the Biden administration, Biden-Kamala Harris, when it came to this immigration crisis. But he never stood with southern border towns. He never stood with the people. He actually went with, because let me tell you what these mayors and what these governors think. They think in terms of money. They think in terms of dollars. They think that federal dollars are going to come into their cities that then allows for them to be able to shore up their budgets and continue to reinvest in themselves. And that's why you see them as Democratic strongholds, because the more that they can run in the Victim Olympics, the more they're going to be rewarded by the federal government traditionally when it comes to liberal cities. That's why they're Democratic hellholes. They want greater population, but not necessarily more solutions, because then that's what then allows for them to get more federal dollars. That's why he just said it. Hey, listen, the feds was the ones that was supposed to pick up the tab. When Biden cut everybody off because he couldn't get no more money from Congress, that's when Eric Adams started shifting his perspective and his position, and that he never really supported the migrant crisis. He supported more money for New York.
Absolutely.
So now that we get into the point to where they switched and they turned on each other, he was looked at as a leper within the Democratic Party. They was never seeking any visibility from him, even though he was the one that controlled the biggest city in the United States of America. Now it's, oh, man, wait a minute. We did the right thing. We took care of business. We had to take care of these migrants. You never had to have the migrants in the first place if you had stood with southern states and didn't designate yourself as a sanctuary city in the first place. And see, this is the part that I don't like. I don't like when they don't say, hey, man, listen, I got that one wrong. Hey, I was wrong on that one.
Yep.
I got that one wrong.
Yep.
100% I was wrong.
Yep.
I'll be wrong every once.
Absolutely. If I'm wrong, I'm
what?
wrong.
You got me on that one. He was kicking
Absolutely.
Cassie's butt. 100% I was wrong on that. I seen the footage. He not going to get out of that one. I was off on that one. But the other 200, I was right on that one, but you got me on that one. It's okay to be wrong. I believe that one of the things that the media don't teach you, and media training is trash anyway, but one of the things that they don't teach you,
humility,
as a politician, is that to endear yourself to the people is just to be real about who it is that you are and where you come from and what your circumstances are.
That's it.
You know what? We got that one wrong, but we're going to get the next one right. We learn from it. You ain't got to stand on that.
What's been the reaction to some of your comments that you made earlier this week about immigrants and migrants that have come to the state illegally, and what may happen under a Trump administration? You've suggested you're going to work with the Trump administration. There's others, obviously, in this city.
He has no choice but to work with the Trump administration.
For a long time.
I don't know what we're talking about here.
Have suggested you shouldn't be.
He's got no choice.
Think about that for a moment. Imagine 4 years of warring with the president and not working with the president.
Yeah, that's not going to look too good for you. That ain't going to look too good for you, brother.
He literally just threw Biden under the bus.
Right.
He might as well say, I am now a Republican. The Dallas mayor did it. He might as well just say I'm a Republican. He threw the whole Democratic Party under the bus. Democrats is over. It's over for y'all.
Imagine 4 years of warring with the president and not working with the president. Our country is about how do we move our cities forward, and that's what my goal is going to do. And people say you're changing comments. It's the same comments. When I was on your program last year, I talked about those small number of migrants and asylum seekers who are coming here committing violence in our city, and those acts of violence are unacceptable. Not only are they unacceptable to everyday New Yorkers, but they're also unacceptable to migrants and asylum seekers who are here. Anyone that commits a crime in this city should be held accountable, and those who are here based on the guests of our city and our country, they should be removed from our country after they serve their time.
Oh, now you want to talk
no
that
matter
shit.
Who's the president at the time?
What's your relationship right now with President Trump, President-elect Trump? He made some very nice comments about you, as you might remember, at the Al Smith dinner.
Well, I'm a nice person, so people should make nice comments about me. You know,
What
I
up,
have a big
JD?
heart. I love the city. I served it as a police officer, state senator, and the borough president. And so President Biden made nice comments about me when he came to the city. And I visited him in Washington, D.C., and talked about crime. He helped us with crime issues. I think we should have done a better job around securing our borders and not having cities pay this awesome amount to deal with a national problem. And so
Send me a clip.
Eric Adams, listen, come on over.
Send me a clip of you defending the border the last 4 years. I'll wait. Send me one clip where you wanted to close the border up. And I'm not talking within the last, this past summer as the election started to get closer. I'm talking about when you first got into office. Send me a clip. You ran on open borders.
Bro. Just come on over, big dog. You ain't even got to hold off. Come on over, bro. You ain't got to fight it. You could just say, listen, I'm a full-blown Republican. I was running under the Democratic banner. I tried to play nice. It didn't work out for me. Come on over to the front of the congregation, dog. We understand. We get it. Let me read a couple of these super chats, and then we'll move over with the show. Keyshawn White says, ask not what can your country do for you, but what you can do for your country, JFK. Jerry says, I used to work for Florida Medicaid, and the entitlement from people receiving free health care was appalling. Well, you know people are going to feel entitled because they just feel like they deserve it. Gary Dordain's lookalike Robert Dalton crashed the chat. Shout out to High Tolerance. Molly says they want you poor so that they feel better about being dusty. Molly ain't playing no games with y'all. High Tolerance says these entrepreneurs would cry about not having benefits and coming out of pocket for coverage while shaming us that punch the clock working for the white man. Stay on over there. You better thank a union member. Shout out to my people. Skinny Boy Django Mortensen says, this reminds me of the show called Point of Interesting on Amazon Prime, where Taraji P. Henson.
Let me raise that camera so you can see what I'm doing with the hair.
Not his full face. Thank you, Anton, watching over here at Hawaii, at Big Island, Hawaii at 525. Shout out to my people at Hawaii. Me University says Matthew 24:16. Flee to Petra, Anton. Petra equal rock equal Jesus. I don't really know what y'all talking. Listen, y'all got to realize that Anton from AntonDaniels.com, honest to God, is a C student. I am a lifetime C student that just so happened to make it. I slipped through the cracks and made it to the top of the totem pole, all right? Let's continue on with the show. What we got going on next? Oh, yeah. So we got to talk about Syria. We got to talk about Assad. We got to talk about Biden. We got to talk about Trump. We're going to spend 10 minutes on this. Let me give you all an update on the U.S. striking Syria after rebels overthrow Assad. Check it out.
Let's start with Madeline Rivera in Washington with the latest on what's going on in Syria and the reaction in Washington. Maddie, good morning.
Good morning, Carly. President Biden is looking at the situation in Syria with cautious optimism. The U.S. is waiting to see what leadership group will fill the vacuum left by President Bashar al-Assad.
It's a moment of historic opportunity for the long-suffering people of Syria to build a better future for their proud country. For years, the main backers of Assad have been Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia. But over the last week, their support collapsed, all three of them, because all three of them are far weaker today than they were when I took office.
You heard the president there taking some credit for the toppling of Assad. He's referencing the support the U.S. has given to Ukraine and Israel, which he says has shifted the balance of power in the Middle East. Moving forward, the president says the U.S. will engage with different Syrian groups, though he notes some of the rebels have their own ties of terrorism. Administration officials also say they need to make sure there is no resurgence of ISIS. To that end, yesterday, the U.S. launched dozens of strikes on more than 75 ISIS targets in central Syria.
Gotta launch some more strikes. United States of America launches more strikes. We just gotta get involved. We involved in almost every single world conflict. We got our hands in it. We got our weapons in it. We got our money in it. We got our ties in it. We got our fight in it. We just gonna launch some more strikes on Syria in the name of ISIS. I ain't heard the name ISIS in so long.
Yep.
We gotta have our hands in it. Gotta put the hands in it. I just don't understand it. Honest to God, I don't understand it. Assad, they say, he sought refuge in Russia, so he's over in Russia chilling. They found his cars. They got a whole set of cars. But boy, we gotta put our hands in it. If our hands ain't in it, then it ain't good. It ain't worth having a conversation about it. My name is Bennett, but my hands is in it. I just don't understand why we gotta be involved in everything.
General Michael Eric Corella says there should be no doubt we will not allow ISIS to reconstitute and take advantage of the current situation in Syria. The U.S. has another priority, securing the chemical weapons possessed by the Assad government, preventing them from getting into the wrong hands. Still, the Biden administration says it has no intentions of intervening militarily. On that point, the administration and President-elect Trump agree. Trump says the U.S. should stay out of the fight in Syria, and like the president, he believes Russia's abandonment of Assad led to his downfall. Trump says now is the time for Russia to negotiate a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. Carly. All right, Madeline Rivera live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you so much. Let's bring in research fellow at the Foundation for Democracies, Defense of Democracies, rather, Hussein Abdul Hussein. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So this rebel group that has taken over is a designated terrorist organization that had links to Al-Qaeda. So how does this news out of the Middle East impact us here at home?
In so long.
Good morning, Carly. Well, we saw the president, the chief of this organization, coming on an interview and promising that he has changed and regretting what he's done in the past to an extent, saying that he was too young and immature. He almost said all the right things, but we can't really judge him by his words. We have to wait and judge him by his deeds. So far, I don't see any alarming signs for us here at home, but we never know what happens. We're still too early on, and things are still changing at a rapid pace at this point.
So yesterday,
I guess I just don't understand why we are now targeting or sending hits over to Syria in the name of ISIS. I don't get it. And again, maybe I'm a little rusty on my international relations or the conflicts that's happening over in Syria specifically, but all this means is that they have even more instability in the region. And so my question then becomes, who then becomes the leader over there? And I'm not saying that Assad is awesome. No,
We
he
do.
wasn't awesome. He
We
was
become the
absolutely a
leader.
monster. However, I'm just trying to understand exactly why we then have to have our foot in the door and what is it that we're going to do going forward? What happens now? Is there going to be another uprising of another group that then gets into power?
Absolutely.
That has to be toppled again?
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to understand. Genuinely, I want to understand.
Today, the U.S. launched airstrikes against ISIS camps inside Syria, and the message being, don't even think about reconstituting and using this crisis and turmoil as an opportunity. When it comes to ISIS, where are we right now?
Well, ISIS has been trying to reconstitute for a long time. The fact that we had targets and we had not taken them out for some time tells us that we've been monitoring them, that they have been trying to come back, and that we still have them on the radar, which is a good point. We have them.
The hair
we're
process
still
is
focused.
crazy, but when it
Somebody
starts to
said
come
Assad
together,
used
it looks
chemical
pretty
weapons
sick.
on his people. No. I don't know. Listen, I don't know, honestly, and I wish the best for everybody, but my question, this is my question. Why are we always at the forefront? Who are we? Like, why do we always got to get our hands in it and involved? And where does it benefit us? Because if you're telling me, well, Anton, we're in it because we want what's best for the world, I tell you BS. I tell you lying. You's a lie, and the truth ain't in you. Okay, cool. Is this atrocity? Is that atrocity? And this is happening or whatever? Cool. Make Syria great again. I got you. But what I'm asking is, what benefit is it to us, and why are we involved in it? That's what I want to know. Because I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that we get involved with things because we...
If we don't show strength and we don't protect countries that need to be protected, these countries will eventually side with other countries, other major countries like China and Russia. And it could definitely put us in a vulnerable position where other countries, smaller countries, will just say, you know what, we're not going to participate in NATO. We're just going to align ourselves with China and Russia. And then before you have it, you'll have these big countries with a bunch of smaller countries on their side, and World War III would be inevitable. So we do it not only for money, but just to show them that, you know, we're the big brother. We're going to be here to protect you. At least that's my comprehension of it. But I'm sure there's a lot of other crazy things as to why we do it, and I'm sure it has a lot to do with money. War makes money. Period. War makes money. That's why we were in Afghanistan for over 20 years. And what did we accomplish? Like, absolutely nothing. Zero.
actually care about what's going on over in other people's countries. I don't. It has to be some tangible benefit. In addition to us being a war party, and we know that there's being a lot of profit that's made for certain people that's a part of the military-industrial complex, especially on the behalf of taxpayers.
On ISIS. I don't see them
You don't think that there will be
really
world peace,
coming
Eric D?
back as they did in the summer of 2014, but they are certainly a threat. And with a new Islamist group taking over in Damascus,
Here we
I
go.
think they might.
There's
think
always a
that
new
this is
Islamic
good
group.
opportunity for them
Always
to come
trying to
back and to start
demonize
doing
Islam.
whatever they were doing 10 years ago.
So you just heard President Biden say that the reason this has happened is because Iran and Russia has been weakened. Should the Biden administration take credit for the toppling of Assad in that way?
Yeah, they want all of the credit for everything.
I wouldn't say that they should. Most of the steps along the way that got us here, mainly the fight that Israel has launched against the proxies of Iran, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Hamas in Gaza, the administration has not been as supportive. The administration has always called on de-escalation and sort of a band-aid solution in that part of the world. The Israelis thankfully didn't listen, and they went after Iran and its proxies, and this is the result. So I wouldn't say that the Biden administration should be taking for whatever is happening now.
So Israel and Syria share a border. The New York Times is reporting that Israeli ground forces crossed into Syria for the first time since 1973. What is the significance of that, and what does this shakeup in Syria mean for Israel?
Israeli posture tells us that the Israelis are not really optimistic, that they are nervous. The fact that they gave up on the deal that they had with the Syrian government suggests that they do not think that what we have now in Damascus is anything similar to the government that entered into the agreement of 1973, 1974. So the Israelis are taking precautions, and I think they're acting independently in preemptive self-defense. There are no signs that things are...
I asked Eric D a question. I said, hey, big dog, do you think that you don't think that there's never going to be world peace? I seen your car's response. I said, do you ever think that there's going to be world peace? He says, not until Jesus comes back. Well, when Jesus comes back, I'm not sure that that's going to actually be world peace. That might be a little bit of a reckoning, don't you think?
Yep. It's the end of times.
Especially since half of these people don't believe in Jesus anyway. Kamala Harris certainly didn't believe in Jesus. But yeah, man, I think that the war machine continues to rage on. I don't want the United States of America to be involved in any other wars. And I think that we need to remove ourselves instead of putting ourselves further into it. No more strikes, no more missiles. We got to take care of home first. So just wanted to spend 10 minutes on that, giving y'all an update. We're going to go over to Trump next for the next couple of stories. But until then, let me read a couple of super chats, and then we're going to continue over. Squirrel says, Syria is just a power grab by Israel, which is currently invading Syria before Joe Biden leaves office. Edmund 850 says, watching a live stream an hour behind Anton, not holding any hostages for a few weeks. Great send-off to the year. All best to you and your family. Great show as always. Shout out to my dog and shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Jerry says, they
let me see how many subs he has.
With Gaddafi. Yeah, I think you might have a point there.
Not
Wesley
bad.
Turner says,
311K?
about money, power, influence through puppet installations, land
Not
assets,
bad.
and resources, always.
He does a good show,
I think
man.
that you have a point on that.
For sure.
Well, let's talk about Trump, because Trump pulled up to meet the press. You know, I'm surprised. I'm surprised all of these people that said that they wasn't rocking with Trump.
Right. I thought they were leaving the country.
The moderators for one of the debates over there on NBC, she was one of the moderators, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And,
I thought
Trump is pulling up even before he hits.
I thought they were all leaving the country.
Granting interviews, he's speaking very, very clear.
Wait. What am I doing? Come on. I messed that up.
Because I remember this woman was one of the moderators for one of the debates over there on NBC. She was one of the moderators, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Trump is pulling up even before he hits office, and he's granting interviews. He's speaking very, very clearly to the people.
Of course he
You
is.
could tell that he's more confident than ever, that he's relaxing. But he pulled up on NBC to talk about his first 100 days. This was an over hour-long interview, but I want to go ahead and get into a little bit of the beginning of it. Check it out.
President-elect Donald Trump, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. You are the first president since Grover Cleveland to win non-consecutive terms. Republicans now have control of the House and the Senate.
Right.
Why does she seem so much more jovial
Right.
now that the election is over? She didn't
Right.
have the same type of energy.
Keep the same energy.
When the election was
Keep that same energy you had 3 years ago.
What do you plan to accomplish in your first 100 days in office?
Well, we're going to do something with the border, and very strong, very powerful. That'll be our first signal, and a first signal to America that we're not playing games. We have people coming in by the millions, as you know, and a lot of people shouldn't be here. Most of them shouldn't be here, but we have jails being emptied into our country. We have mental institutions from all over the world being emptied into our country. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be extending within that period, or as soon as we can, the Trump tax cuts, because, you know, they're coming due and they're very substantial for people. And it would be very, I think it will anger a lot of people, frankly, if we don't get an extension of that. That's what led us to one of the greatest economies ever. And those two things are going to be very vital, very important. We're going to be focusing on crime in the cities, and we'll work with Democrat governors. Most of them are, as you know, if you look at the 25 worst places, they're just about all Democrat-controlled cities and states, and we're going to be working with Democrat governors and Democrat mayors.
Chicago,
And, I look forward to doing
Detroit,
it. We have to
LA,
do
New
something
York
about
City.
crime, mostly in our cities. And we're going to have a
Newark.
lot of other things. We'll be working on nominations. We're going to still be working on some nominations. I think they're going very well. We have, for the most part, I think they're going extremely well. It looks like Peter's doing well now. I mean, people were a little bit concerned. He's a young guy with a tremendous track record, actually. He went to Princeton and went to Harvard. He was a good student at both, but he loves the military, and I think people are starting to see it. So we'll be working on his nomination along with a lot of others.
I think that he makes a great point about these Democratic cities, but this also shows you that he's not out for retribution. I seen in a later part of this interview in a clip where she asks him about pardons for January 6 people, and she also asks him about, Kamala Harris voters. And he spoke pretty well, and he said, listen, I'm the president of the American people, and so it doesn't really matter whether you voted for me or not. I'm going to treat you the same, if not better, than I treat my own people, because how you go is the rest of the country. And that is a complete different perspective than what he was painted as. He was painted as a person that was going to go after his enemies and retribution and all of that, and he ain't got none of that type of energy. He already the president-elect, and ain't nothing that nobody can do about it. They tried to kill him. They tried to take him out. They tried to do all of this stuff, but he has no bad will or energy towards the very people that tried to prevent him from getting into office in the first place. When you hear him speak, so
You try
for
to
example, he said,
annihilate
"Look,
him.
we got to get the people out of here that's criminals. We got to get the people out of here that's doing the wrong thing. They dumped a lot of these people from their prisons. They got bad backgrounds. They horrible people in society. Some of them has killed more than one person. I'm not sure what you disagree with. For the people that actually don't like Trump, I would be curious, now that you can put away your bias, now that D.L. Hughley is not selling you on Project 2025, now that we don't have Ricky Smiley fear-mongering you because he's not getting a check, now that Roland Martin and all of the visibility that's died around him because he got his little $350,000, now that Al Sharpton got done robbing taxpayers for his bid, now that everybody got paid and everybody got rich, and
Al Sharpton been robbing people the last 30 years,
the very
man.
ones that sold y'all on the Kamala Harris machine are the ones that's going to be benefiting the most. Now that
This guy's got a daytime talk show.
What happened in
That's
2016
crazy.
and remove all of your
That's just
emotions
crazy
from
to
what
me.
you then are experiencing now, and you see him calm, cool, collected, and kicking it without any opposition, what are your thoughts of him? What are your thoughts of him saying, listen, I want to work with the Democratic mayors of these cities. I want to work with the Democratic governors because the facts show that these people are under the most duress, and I would love to work with them so that we can make sure that we get these people out of their cities that's not supposed to be there, that's committing all of the crimes and driving up the homicide rate and the problems and the violent crime.
We are going to delve into your nominations, but since you bring him up, do you still have confidence in Pete Hegseth?
Yes, I do. I really do. He's a very smart guy. I've known him through Fox, but I've known him for a long time. And he's basically a military guy. I mean, every time I talk to him, all he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think we'd be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense. But every time I was with him, he was fighting for soldiers, where he said some soldier was unjustly put in prison because they were really doing what they were taught to do, in some cases. So, yeah, I think he's going to do fine.
The fact that there are these allegations against him, misconduct, sexual misconduct, heavy drinking, the fact that he said to some senators reportedly he'll stop drinking if he gets this job, does that worry you?
No, I think that everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I can stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something.
Right.
If you said that, I mean, it's a nice thing to say. That's a good thing to say.
Some people can stop eating.
But he's very respected. I can tell you, I know a lot of the people at Fox, they think he's fantastic. And the people that work with him, really, they love him. So I think you're going to have somebody that's really terrific. And again, all he talked about with me, I said, you know, you're not really a television guy, even though he did very well, as you know. You're really a military guy. He said, I'm all about the military. And I told him, so he's making a lot of money at Fox. They're doing very well. And I said, you know, if for some reason you don't get this thing, you're not going to be able to go back. And all that money you're making, you can kiss it goodbye. He said, this is all about America. You know, he didn't say, well, let me think about it, let me discuss it. That's a very big, risky thing he's doing. When he goes and
That's a fact.
He says, I'm going to give up, you know, millions of dollars in order to possibly become the Secretary of Defense.
You listen, you a better man than me.
Yep.
He a better man than me. Think about that for a second. This is why certain people don't ever want to get involved.
Could be his entire career.
In any political race or anything like that. You know why? Because they making way more money, millions even every single year, to do what we already been doing. Why would a person, unless they truly, truly, truly cared about the country, unless they just had it all together, they've been making money for a long time, they don't really care about the money no more. Why would a person give up millions of dollars unless they truly, truly wanted to serve their country?
Or destroy it.
Think about that for a minute. Listen, that's a hard press. I thought about running for mayor of the city of Detroit. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't think I'm ready. I think in 10 years, I'll run. 10 years from now, I'll run for the city of the mayor, probably mayor of the city of Detroit. And then maybe after that, we'll go for governor. 10 years mayor. Let's go 16 to 18 years, we're going to go governor. All right? And let me tell you why. I'm not ready to give up the bag. No, I'm not. I'm not ready to give up the bag.
I was going to run for office too at one point. I was really thinking about it, starting off as maybe, you know, some sort of township, you know, employee of some sort, and then, you know, progressively work my way up from there. But my ideologies and my way of thinking, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They'd be like, get this psychopath out of here, please. This dude is nuts. You all thought Giuliani was bad? Yeah. I'll stick to drawing, commentating, working out, being a family man. This is what I do. Leave the politics out of it. You couldn't have me run. Everybody be in prison.
Bag. Because the city, let me see. The mayor, obviously, it'll be a jump, hopefully, in pay. Detroit mayor salary.
It's only about 180, I think. 180.
202,000?
Oh, okay. Not bad. 202,000?
$224,000 by 2025. $225,000. You mean that I can't do what I'm gonna do on a daily basis, and I gotta spend my daytime actually governing a whole city and making sure that the police department is supported and that the people is taken care of and all of this?
Not worth it.
Shamalala. Oh, Lord, give me a sign. Give me a sign. Let's just go for 2042. Let's go 2042. No? Hell no. That mean that I gotta, you know what type of sacrifice that you would have to make to do that when you are successful? See, if you're just a community advocate, that's a come up.
See, but you would be doing it for the people. Right? You would be doing it for the people. You would be doing it for the neighborhoods that is still impoverished. You would be doing it to get shit back in order. You would be doing it to stop the corruption. That's why you would do it. You wouldn't take a position like that for the money. You know, Trump is not taking the presidency for the $500,000 that he's making every year. You know, he's doing it for a greater good. Any president is doing it for a greater good, whether it's criminal, whether it's, you know, I don't know, righteous and moral, but yeah, $200,000, it's not a lot of money. You do get other perks though. You eat for free every day. If you're a mayor in New York City, you get to live in the mansion, right? So you're not paying your mortgage unless, you're still paying your mortgage on your house if you have one, but you know, you got car, you know, take home, cell phone, perks, traveling. Everything is an expense on our dime. Personal protection. It's not a bad deal.
I want to delve into one of your signature promises on the campaign trail, which was to end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can
it.
you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars.
I'm going to spray
and we had no inflation. In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much. So I think we will. I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year.
No, that's a
We're
problem.
subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion.
Why will we continue to do that? Why will we continue to do that? Why will we subsidize Canada for over $100 billion a year and Mexico for over $300 billion a year? And they can't even get their borders together. If I was Mexico, it's yes sir, no sir. If I'm Mexico, it's yes or no sir. Because if you're subsidizing and it's at a trade deficit of over $300 billion, the least I could do is control the borders. The least you was on some border, sir. I's gotcha.
Right.
I's gotcha. No, don't you mess with the United States of the Americas. No, you don't. They's a good trading partner. That's a good trading partner right there.
Right.
Ain't no way in the world I wouldn't be getting the control of the borders. Ain't no way in the world I wouldn't be getting things together. 300 billion. Ooh, no. China. We likes the United Statesians. Ain't no way. Why would you want to mess that up? You don't fumble the bag under no circumstances. Do you fumble the bag? I'll step in a minute when somebody about to fumble the bag. Sitting there with two of my partners, and one person is he the lower worker, and the other person is the top dog. Hey, listen. We let you get your stuff off. Show some respect. Give me a second. Let me smooth this out real quick. Hey, man, come over here real quick, bro. Hey, we ain't even tripping off of that, man. That's so small beans. I step in and mediate in a minute. I am the mediate king. Because the number one thing that I be thinking of, what is going to happen with the bottom line? I don't deserve it. Shut up. Before you get replaced. He didn't mean it. He just tripping over there. Listen, let's talk about this over dinner. I got a driver for you. We gonna make sure that everything is taken care of. Here's some tickets to the game tonight. When the last time you took your girl to the game? And then the girl be over there. He ain't took me out in so long, man. What you got up tonight? Hey, listen. I'm gonna get y'all set up. I'm gonna call my host. He gonna make sure that everything is taken care of. Y'all go have a good time, man. You ain't. Let me deal with this. I'll take this together. All right, see y'all. Y'all crazy. You crazy. And once they leave out, man, what's wrong with you? Man, what is you doing? All of that ego and bro, I'm telling you. Listen, we can go out back right now. Seriously. We can figure it out, but I need you to have a much, much better attitude when you come back in here. Oh, hey, Anton, they come up. Hey, y'all forget something? Oh, I knew you forgot something. Y'all wow. Hey, let me know how that game is, all right? Nobody about to play with y'all. Ain't nobody messing with y'all. We got a bag to get. You know what I'm saying? Mexico over there fumbling the bag. Canada's over there trying to figure it out. Get y'all lives together before we have to tariff y'all. You know, I love me some tariffs.
We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion, and now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with wars and having to do with other things, tariffs, I have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%. And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money. And we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part. And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Well, again, prices did go up on some goods in your first administration, washing machines, tires. Will you punish CEOs?
Let me just explain to you. No. You mentioned washing machines. So you look at Whirlpool in Ohio. I got a call from Jim Jordan, one of the greats, congressman
Look
from
at him
Ohio.
name dropping. You know somebody got receipts when they start name dropping. I'm gonna read these cash apps shortly.
And he said, they're going out of business because South Korea and China are dumping washing machines into our country. And I put a 50% tariff on the washing machines coming in from China and South Korea. And Whirlpool and the companies that made washing machines, which are based in Ohio, largely based in Ohio, went through the roof. We saved thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. They were all going out of business because they were dumping washing machines. And when I put the tariffs on, they became successful businesses. No, it didn't. Not only didn't it cost people, it made our country stronger and more powerful, and it kept jobs.
But how do you
And that's beautiful. And I know that that's true. You know how I know that that's true?
Huh?
Because there was a lot of people that was anticipating
Come
getting
here.
laid off in Benton Harbor, Michigan from Whirlpool Manufacturing. Yep. I got friends that work in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Literally a stone's throw, you can see Chicago. You can see the Chicago Bridge. Literally, you can get quicker to Chicago from Benton Harbor, Michigan, than you can over to Detroit. And I was talking to a lot of my friends over there, and they were telling me that they was anticipating getting laid off. And one of the things that saved them was the tariffs that he's talking about. So when you wonder why the state swung over and they turned red, when you look at some of the rhetoric that was happening from the Kamala Harris-Biden campaign, it was empty talk because the people then started to suffer a lot more under the new administration than all of the benefits that came along with being under Trump. Now, he can't control everything. He can't save every single job, but he can do his part to make sure that he wards off other countries
All right,
dumping
guys.
cheap products
That's
over here. So y'all
a
can feel
wrap
good about going to
for
when you could have
today.
shut the mess up.
We got some of the hair done. The hair's looking good. It's just got to be darkened and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's coming together. So I will see you tomorrow, possibly in the morning,
make sure
and
that
we'll pick it up
consumers don't
again
wind up paying more?
with
Will you
Anton Daniels
punish
as well.
CEOs who try to pass the cost of tariffs on?
Yeah, we'll pick it up. Maybe we'll just continue, depending on what's going on. But aside from that, I appreciate you guys. Drop the like if you appreciate the content. Don't forget to subscribe and do all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Tell them exactly. Don't forget. Yeah.
All right. See you on the next one.